tariffs were at 145% on Chinese goods. And there was enough progress out of that weekend meeting that the president dropped the tariffs down to 55%. But very quickly, both sides started accusing the other of not living up to their end of the bargain in Geneva. So they met this week to try to get everybody back on board with that. And that's what the Commerce Secretary was saying, that they cleaned things up and everybody agreed to agree to what was already supposed to be agreed to. But important things here, the tariffs are still at 55%. They didn't go up, but they also didn't go down. The Chinese side said that they're going to remove restrictions on sending those rare earth minerals to the U.S. The administration had accused them of slow walking exports, so that was a big hang up. And the U.S. has said now that they're going to allow Chinese students to attend colleges here after threatening last week to revoke visas.
Oh, interesting. All right. Karen Travers at the White House joining us on the Mark Arum Show. So 55% tariffs from Chinese goods heading to America, 10% tariffs American goods going to China. The final approval comes from President Xi. Do we have a timeline on when this is going to get rubber stamped?
No timeline, but I also think it was notable to see what China is saying about this. This morning, our time, they're weighing in saying that they essentially don't really characterize this as a deal. They're calling it a framework to consolidate what was already agreed to. And they're calling this just the first meeting. So that, I think, is important, that they're expecting more negotiations, which would indicate this is a long ways away from final approval at the highest level there in China than perhaps President Trump was letting on yesterday.
Obviously, a big deal with the two largest economic superpowers in the world, the U.S. and China. It might have been a month or more ago. Time flies, Karen. We were talking about the administration saying, there's 70 to 75 countries lined up ready to make deals. Have we had anywhere near the number of deals made that they were touting a month ago?
There are no deals made. There was one, framework of an agreement announced with the UK, but remember, they weren't even included in that big round of sweeping reciprocal tariffs. So the countries that are trying to fend off the big number around July 9th going into effect, the administration is still negotiating with them. They continue to say that they're close. You mentioned Japan, they'll say Vietnam, South Korea, but nothing has been announced yet from the administration. And I think you and I have talked about this multiple times. These are complicated things to do. I mean, trade deals with one country sometimes take months to a year, if not longer. Sometimes they have to be approved by legislatures back in the home countries. These are very complicated things. The fact that they're trying to do it with dozens and dozens of countries in a 90-day pause window, it's a challenge. But the president told me weeks ago, right after he had put them on pause, if they don't reach agreements with these countries, those tariffs will go back into effect after 90 days.
Yeah, we've got July 9th circled on the calendar. Karen Travers, ABC. Karen, as always, appreciate your time.
Have a great day.
All right, we'll head back to the White House after the news at 9:30, get an update on the immigration protests around the country. Again, did not have one last night in Brookhaven, but we might see them bubble up this weekend. We'll, of course, keep you posted. Coming up next in the show, we got an update on the suspects in the Appalachia High School shooting. We'll give you the details, but first, we got a travel advisory on the south side. Hello and good morning. Chinwe Maponia-Cook.
Good morning. Yeah, that's right. We got some hassles in Henry County. Crash knocking out a couple of right lanes on I-75 southbound right at Highway 155. So it's causing you some delays near exit 216. You can take State Route 42 to avoid those delays. This report is sponsored by Whole Foods Market. Save on organics at Whole Foods Market. Get organic yellow peaches for $3.99 per pound with Prime through June 17th. While supplies last, shop in store or online, terms apply. I'm Chinwe Maponia Cook, 95.5 WSB.
When news breaks,
the latest violent immigration protest has erupted in our own backyard.
We've got it covered.
3 police cars were damaged in the process, escalating the situation. 6 people were taken into custody.
Tune in often for the latest.
Quickly turned from a good demonstration to individuals that were there with ill intent.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's breaking news station.
Here at Massey, we've seen the damage termites can cause. That's why we've protected homes from termite damage for almost 100 years. Our termite protection program doesn't just protect your home from termites, it gives you peace of mind. That's why our termite protection guarantee covers your home and all the things in it. When we protect against termites, we protect families. Schedule your free inspection today at MasseyServices.com. Massey Services. Expect more and get it.
Just a word of wisdom from your friend Mark Aram. A damaged roof doesn't always lead to an entire roof replacement project. As a full-service Atlanta roofing company, my friends at Dr. Roof offer comprehensive roof repairs that will lengthen the lifespan of your existing roof and ensure that it will continue to protect your home as it should. It's storm season. Get peace of mind from my friends at Dr. Roof. They've been in business for over 35 years, and Dr. Roof offers up to a 5-year warranty on roof repairs. Get all the info online at drroof.com.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, every week on the show, we offer folks something we call the Portfolio X-Ray. I was hoping you could walk us through that process and tell us why the information it uncovers is so powerful.
Yeah, so the reason we love doing the Portfolio X-Ray for you is we do that behind the scenes. Everybody's extremely busy. Nobody wants to waste time in traffic. If you call in, we will ask you for some information via the phone. Once you've given us that information, we go to work and we put all the hours in developing the report. And I commit this to you. The Portfolio X-Ray is eye-opening. At least 90+% of the time, we can find 2 or 3 golden nuggets in there that you were not aware of that we can either change in your current portfolio mix for you. It's called a 401k optimizer. Or if we manage the assets for you, we certainly can recommend how to diversify away from some of the troubling points that are exposed during the Portfolio X-Ray. Once we've got that, then we'll have you in for your initial consultation. We will present the Portfolio X-Ray to you and walk you through the high points of it. And that's a document that you get to take with you. It's like getting a financial physical. Mm-hmm. So how many of you avoided going to the doctor for the annual physical last year? You do the same thing with your financial life. You ignore it. You keep pumping money into your 401k. You hope that it's going well. And I can tell you that hope is not a good investment or financial planning strategy. You need to know. So if you want to know, call us.
The Portfolio X-Ray is complimentary. Give Hoffman Financial Group a call to schedule yours today. 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
I'm consumer investigator Dale Cardwell, and for over a decade, I've trusted America's best choice for windows, doors, siding, and decks.
Spring is the perfect time to update your home, and America's Best Choice makes it easy with these spring specials. Highest quality, energy-efficient windows starting at just $299. Take 10% off a new deck and create the outdoor oasis of your dreams. No pressure, no gimmicks. Visit abcwin.com today to schedule your free consultation.
Hey, as Shelley Winter, sleep apnea could be silently wrecking your health. Untreated, it spikes your risk of heart disease, strokes, and diabetes. Are you snoring loudly? Waking up exhausted? Your body's sounding the alarm. Don't ignore it. Are you frustrated with a CPAP? Those bulky masks and noisy tubes aren't for everyone. Palmetto Sleep has a better answer. Custom oral appliances, quiet, comfortable, and perfect for mild to moderate sleep apnea. Sleep better, feel better. No sleep lab needed. Get an at-home sleep test in your own bed, often covered by Medicare or your company plans. Save your health. Call Palmetto Sleep now at 770-230-0222. That's 770-230-0222. That's 770-230-0222. Palmetto Sleep, your health deserves better. Call 770-230-0222. That's the phone number. Get a good night's sleep now. Call Palmetto Sleep.
That's the sound of fire crews trying to douse flames of the wreckage of that Air India flight. 242 souls on board. It crashed shortly after takeoff, was heading to London. Reportedly no survivors. It was a Boeing 787 Dreamliner, another plane crash involving a Boeing jet. But this particular Boeing jet has not had any incidents before, so maybe this is a one-off. We're going to continue our team coverage throughout the Mark Arum Show. Going to talk to CBS News transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve and travel expert Peter Greenberg, always available to jump on breaking news. He's going to join us live as well. I want to update a local story that still lingers. The pain still lingers. The Appalachia High School shooting. The two defendants in the case, the father and son, Colt and Colin Gray. We have an update on that story, Deborah.
Yeah, they've got some new hearing dates set for both of them. Colt Gray, he is the accused Appalachia High School shooter from last fall. Him and his father are going to be, their next court dates are going to be on June 27th, and then you have another one for Colt, and that's scheduled for July 15th. So more steps in this.
And I believe, unless I'm misremembering, there was a change of venue request, and it was
requested, yeah.
Yeah, I believe it was granted. You might want to fact check me on that. Obviously, the defense attorneys thought that they might not get an impartial jury in Barrow County, so I think they moved it to a county over, not like a completely huge movement of the venue. So a couple of court dates there, June 27th and July 15th. In the still horrific. I mean, it's still. I'm friends with a couple of moms of students there, and they're still not over it. And we had that woman on that trained the dog that went in. It wasn't a therapy dog. I forgot what she called it. But the dog is
like
gonna,
a resource dog.
Yeah, the dog's going to stay there next school year, which I think
You're right. They did get a change of venue.
Yeah. Does it say what county it got changed to?
Let's see. Barrow County Judge. No, it just says that they were granted.
Okay.
Hall County
Yeah,
will be
Hall
selected
County.
from Hall County.
That's right. So, listen, their life's on the line. If they think they need to move it, I don't think it's going to change the outcome of the case, but I'm okay with them getting a change of venue or change of jurors there. By the way, we had a big musical death yesterday, Deborah, since you are our musical correspondent.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Brian Wilson, best known as the
frontman of the Beach Boys.
The Beach Boys, yeah. I was trying to go back through my archives to see if he's ever been on the show, and I couldn't find it.
I feel like I would remember that.
Yeah, but 82 years old. Are the Beach Boys? Are they underrated? Like, do people hear Beach Boys and say, "Oh, it's the Beach Boys"?
I think so because of they're a little bit older, and growing up in the Midwest, I didn't connect to that surf beach rock really, but they have some of the greatest harmonies vocally. So if you really appreciate music and the way people sing, you're kind of into that. But I think just the type of music I'm a more rock and roll girl, so I'm more a little guitar based, so I don't dislike them. But sometimes when I listen to God Only Knows, I'm like, oh yeah, this is just an amazing song. But yeah, I do think they get kind of forgotten sometimes.
Forgotten, that's a good, forgotten, underappreciated. Because if you ask, people, hey, give us your best bands of all time, the Beach Boys are rarely on that list, but pretty amazing catalog. So rest in peace to Mr. Wilson. President Trump posted his condolences. Apparently, he was a big Wilson Beach Boy fan. All right, speaking of President Trump, his battle continues with the California governor. We go live to the White House next on The Mark Arum Show.
Welcome to Window Wisdom with North Georgia Replacement Windows. We are here with the owners and experts, Ted Kirk and Jonathan Cullum. Jonathan, when I drive around, I've noticed plenty of rotted and foggy windows. Why do so many people put off their window projects?
In our experience, they think it's going to be too expensive, or they've heard the nightmare stories of high-pressure, buy-it-now salespeople.
So, Ted, what is North Georgia Replacement Windows doing to help make this problem easier?
Well, you can start small. We allow homeowners to do as many or as few windows as they'd like at one time. We also offer a 3-year price lock guarantee on our Infinity from Marvin Fiberglass windows and doors, which gives you 3 full years to complete your project without worrying about the product costs going up.
Any recommendations on how to handle the unscrupulous sales tactics?
You don't deserve that. Just call us instead. We're different. We provide a stress-free experience with quick, accurate proposals without pressure or pricing games. There's plenty of good reasons why other window and door companies don't want you to see us.
You guys really do make window and door shopping simple. Is there anything else you want to add that may help someone wanting to get their window project started?
First, some advice. Do your research. All windows are not the same. Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows are beautiful, not big and bulky like vinyl composite windows. And we have some smart money plans available with 0% interest rates and some low payment plans. You can experience the Infinity from Marvin fiberglass difference in the comfort of your home, or Jonathan and I would love to personally invite you to our new Alpharetta showroom where you could see the differences for yourself.
And right now it's time to jump into June's savings at North Georgia Replacement Windows. You'll get 15% off your project, plus 36 months no interest with equal payments. Details at ngwindows.com.
Infinity from Marvin, replacement windows, yeah!
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It's 9:30. Good morning to you. I'm Cheryl Castro. News brought to you by Dr. Roof. Our top story, at least 240 people are feared dead in northwest India after a passenger plane crashes shortly after takeoff. The Air India jet was bound for London, where there was some sort of malfunction.
This was not a nosedive. We've seen videos circulating on social media showing it almost looks like it's landing. It's coming down at roughly 500 feet per second on a glide scope. The landing gear was still down. This signifies some sort of loss of power. So we now know that the captain did make some sort of a mayday call.
Transportation correspondent Sam Sweeney reports no Americans were on board. It's the first ever crash involving a Boeing 787 Dreamliner. A domestic dispute ends with the death of a man at a Buckhead apartment complex. Atlanta Police Homicide Commander Andrew Smith says it all starts with the man showing up at his estranged wife's building. This is at the Cortland Peachtree Battle Complex on Peachtree Road.
Often people will hold doors for individuals. There were 2 shots fired.
He says the man's wife and 2 people with her fought back in self-defense, killing him. No names have been released. DeKalb County Police released more details on the vehicle involved in a police chase that left an officer with injuries. Officials now say the officer was chasing a white 4-door 2016 Nissan Maxima when he crashed into a dump truck on Glenwood Avenue early yesterday. It was stolen out of Rockdale County with a Florida license plate. The agency's asking anyone with information to call the office. Meanwhile, DeKalb County Watershed is working this morning on repairs to a water main break at the same intersection close to Terry Mill Road. While legal disputes play out, U.S. businesses are facing the termination of thousands of workers whose temporary deportation protections are being stripped by the Trump administration.
Workers with humanitarian parole or temporary protected status are employed across the country in industries like healthcare, construction, and hospitality. Disney and Walmart have reportedly sidelined some workers following a pair of U.S. Supreme Court decisions that allowed the Department of Homeland Security to revoke those protections for immigrants from countries including Venezuela, Haiti, and Cuba. Attorneys say that other employers have held off on making staffing changes for now. I'm Bloomberg's Gina Cervetti for 95.5 WSB.
Roswell tightens restrictions on short-term rentals. The city council votes unanimously in favor of the restrictions.
This is really to focus on the safety of people who are coming to visit us in Roswell. Not only the safety of the homeowners themselves, the safety of the neighbors and the surrounding community, but also the safety of the tenants who are staying in these short-term rentals.
That's Councilwoman Sarah Beeson. Beginning next year, homes that are used as short-term rentals will be required to go through the same occupational safety inspection that commercial operation buildings undergo in Roswell. New this morning, inflation at the manufacturing level remained muted in May. That's according to the latest Producer Price Index.
The PPI rose 0.1% last month, about half of what economists were anticipating. That report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics followed the May Consumer Price Index, which also pointed to relatively tame inflation.
Jim Ryan reports the Federal Reserve will study both numbers as it decides next week where to set interest rates. It's 9:33, time to check traffic and weather. We go first to Chinwe Maponya-Cook live in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
We've been watching a long-standing travel advisory in Henry County, I-75 southbound, right at Highway 155. A couple of left lanes, a couple of right lanes knocked out due to a crash involving multiple tractor trailers. Right now, they are temporarily holding all lanes in order to get this crash cleared, and now they are allowing one lane to get through, so at times all lanes are blocked. You can take State Route 42 in order to avoid those delays. I'm Chinwe Maponya-Cook, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy, hot and humid today, high 88. A few hit or miss rain showers and storms through the afternoon, lows tonight in the low 70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with pop-up afternoon thunderstorms, high 86. Saturday, mostly cloudy with scattered rain showers and thunderstorms, highs in the mid-80s.
And right now, cloudy, 74 degrees in Duluth. You are at 76 in Stonecrest, 75 in Milton. More news at 10 o'clock, breaking news when it happens. I'm Cheryl Castro, 95.5 WSB.
If it's happening on the streets of Atlanta.
Cobb County Medical Examiner's Office identifies 57 sets of cremains.
If it's happening on the roads leading to Atlanta.
Massive project at 285 and Georgia 400 has been a big improvement.
We've got it covered.
Atlanta jurors convict a former Customs and Border Protection officer.
Your 24/7 news source.
Covering the stories that impact you.
Tune in throughout the day to stay up to date.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's breaking news station.
If we weren't there, if we didn't bring in the National Guard and the Marines, you would probably have a city that was burning to the ground.
President Trump at the
like
Kennedy Center talking about the protests in L.A. We'll get the latest live from the White House 2 minutes away on the Mark Arum Show.
At Butler Lexus of South Atlanta, they just don't sell cars. They set the standard of amazing. Enjoy personalized service, a Starbucks cafe, and airport parking concierge because you deserve more than just a car. Visit ButlerLexusSouthAtlanta.com or call 800-NEW-LEXUS today because they value you.
A friend of mine, I'm not going to name names, has been trying to organize like a little friendly poker game at his house, and no one wants to come, and he didn't understand why, and I had to break it to him. Dude, your Wi-Fi is horrible. Hey, it's Mark Arum here. That's why no one wants to go to play. There's 9 of us at the poker table. We want to be on our phones, our tablets, streaming a sports game or listening to music, and his Wi-Fi was it was garbage. So I said, hey, step up to the plate and get Xfinity Internet. That's what I have at the Arum household, and the Wi-Fi is so strong. You could have literally hundreds of devices connected to the Wi-Fi and get zero lag. So he switched to Xfinity. All of a sudden, yeah, everyone wants to go play at his friendly poker game. Wi-Fi can make a huge difference in life and in your social life. Your friends are going to want to come over if you have strong Wi-Fi. Get all the information online at Xfinity.com. Call 1-800-XFINITY or visit your local Xfinity store today.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
Let's not forget our officers face uncertain and often dangerous situations every day, and their risk to their lives has been even greater over these last few days.
That's L.A. Police Chief Jim McDonnell as the 6th night of protests continued in L.A. Here locally, we did not see a continuation of the protests in Brookhaven, but I suspect they might pop up again this weekend. Joining us live from the White House from News Nation, Kelly Meyer. Kelly, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Excellent. So the 6th night of protests in L.A., the back and forth continues with President Trump and California Governor Gavin Newsom?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the two are now heading to the courtroom, essentially. They're going to clash in the courtrooms today over whether or not the president had the authority to send the Marines as well as the National Guard into Los Angeles. So Governor Newsom is saying that he never requested them to come to Los Angeles. He calls it illegal. But the Trump administration lawyers are basically saying that Newsom is making this a political stunt and that they don't need to consult with him to send the federal troops in, and that they feel as though they needed to step in. We just heard it from the president this morning on Truth Social, defending his decision yet again. He said the last couple of nights in LA were calm or quiet thanks to the National Guard and Marines that were there, but we do know that the Marines themselves aren't actually on the ground at the protests yet because they were undergoing training for the civil training, the domestic ground. Normally they are trained for war, so they had to go through training before they are on the ground. So they should be there in the next 4 48 hours, we're told. Right now, there's the National Guard troops there, but right now there are more troops deployed in Los Angeles than in Iraq and Syria. And the president actually retruthed a quote about that. And the quote, the Post had said, "Is this what you voted for?" And the president said, "In a landslide." So again, defending his decision to send the Marines and the National Guard to Los Angeles to help quell these protests around his immigration crackdown.
Now, the lawsuit centers around whether the president had the authority without the governor's express permission or request of the National Guard. I know you're a White House correspondent, not a legal analyst, but do we have any idea which way the winds are blowing legally and who might win this first of possibly many court battles?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, so Newsom's challenging his move, citing a 19th century law that makes it illegal to use federal troops for law enforcement on domestic soil unless the president invokes the Insurrection Act, which is something that the president hasn't ruled out. But the administration is arguing that the Marines and the National Guard are not involved with law enforcement activity, but rather protecting law enforcement and federal property, and that they never needed Newsom's permission. But it is the lines can be blurred. I mean, ICE posted a photo of ICE agents conducting an enforcement operation with the National Guard standing guard around them. And critics say that just blurs the lines between protecting them, but also being involved in it. So it depends how the courts see this.
Kelly, have the president and the governor actually talked, or are they just exchanging barbs on social media?
Well, it's a good question because that's even something that they've been arguing over, who called who and who called who when, because the president was saying the other day that he spoke to him the day before and that he told him he was doing a bad job. And then the call log was shared. That was from actually another day, June 7th. So then Newsom said, well, Trump doesn't even know what day it is. We didn't talk that day. So they're even arguing over who called who. So they're on this back and forth, and Newsom is also hitting him over basically kind of the insults that former President Biden was getting over his health and mental acuity. He's saying that the president isn't like the man he used to know, and that he is basically losing track. He doesn't know what day it is, and also insulting him on that level too now.
We've seen the protests nationwide spreading. We had one here the other night in Atlanta, in New York City, in Texas as well. Are we going to see any more National Guard troops in other states besides California?
I mean, it's definitely something that the administration and Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, he's been testifying on Capitol Hill this week, and they're not ruling that out. His idea and what he testified, I believe, yesterday, saying was that they want to be proactive and they'd rather put the National Guard there in place just in case before anything happens. So that could be something you could see. And the president didn't rule it out. He even said the other night in the Oval Office it could be met with equal or greater force than what you're seeing in Los Angeles.
Final quick question, Kelly, and forgive me if this is repetitive, but the judge will hear this case, the Newsom-Trump case. When is that going to happen?
Yeah, no, it's this afternoon.
Okay.
It's set for. So we'll have to see how it kind of breaks down. We know that Newsom filed this lawsuit. We know the administration submitted their reply essentially yesterday, saying that they have the right to do this, and now we'll see how the two collide in the hearing today.
Kelly Meyer at the White House News Nation. Kelly, as always, appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right, so that judge will hear it at 4 p.m. Again, any updates in L.A., Brookhaven, wherever, if the protests get out of hand, we'll give you coverage here on 95.5 WSB. Continue our discussion of the breaking news you heard this morning on Atlanta's Morning News. Air India Flight 171 goes down en route to England. 242 souls on board. Joining us live with his perspective, travel expert Peter Greenberg. Peter, thanks for jumping on with the breaking news, buddy.
You got it, Mark.
I mean, obviously, a horrible situation. The video, this plane crash shortly after takeoff. Let me start, though, with the aircraft itself. Boeing 787 Dreamliner, another Boeing aircraft involved in a deadly crash.
Yes, but this is the first time in the history of the 787 there's been a fatal crash, so you have to understand that. But the thing that we're looking at now, and obviously it's very, very early on, we don't want to speculate, but the video that we've been able to see, which was shot by an amateur, shows something that's quite problematic because the plane had a normal takeoff, and then shortly after takeoff, if you look at that video, the landing gear has not been retracted. In fact, it's still down, and the actual plane is flying what looks like a very normal glide slope approach into the ground, which makes absolutely no sense. So they're going to be looking at a number of things. And remember, in any accident investigation, they have to rule everything out before they can rule any one thing in. Of course, they're going to look at the plane itself, They're going to look at where it was manufactured, any kind of maintenance history the plane may have had, and who did the most recent maintenance, who signed off on it, what that maintenance issue was. Then they're going to look at other factors. Was there an engine malfunction? Was there direct pilot error? And I don't want to speculate here, but we've had instances before of intentional acts of suicide on behalf of some pilots. We had a Eurowings crash in Europe. This plane was making what looked like a very soft, subtle, slow descent into the ground, which right now on a preliminary analysis makes no sense at all.
Travel expert Peter Greenberg joining us live at the Mark Arum Show did see a reporting from the BBC that there was a Mayday call from the cockpit to air traffic control shortly after takeoff. Knowing that now, does that change what the cause might have been? Does that take away the suicidal pilot aspect of it, or is it still too early?
It's still too early, but the fact that there was a Mayday call means that at least someone was in control of the cockpit, and they must have either lost power at that point, if you want to go down that route, because at that point, that plane should have been much higher up in the air on its controlled ascent, not a controlled descent. And remember, it was not flying very fast at that point because it had just taken off. It took off at about 160 knots and probably didn't get beyond 200. So it's a very interesting flight trajectory here that the investigators are going to be focusing on. And of course, at this point, what we do know, of course, no survivors on the plane. They're still working on assessing how many people perished on the ground.
Yeah, just absolutely tragic. Now, Peter, I'm sure you're familiar with that route from India to Heathrow. I'm assuming that's a long trip, and that means that plane was fully fueled up, right?
Oh, of course. That plane was built for that route. It's a normal route that it takes. The 787 is a very efficient airplane. It was designed with mostly composite parts, so it's not a weight issue. But remember, a number of 787s, as we speak today, have been grounded because of issues with the manufacturer of the engines. So they'll be looking at whether or not these are Rolls-Royce or Pratt & Whitney engines. I don't know the answer to that yet. But, of course, that'll be part of the investigation as well.
Peter, have you ever flown on that 787 Dreamliner? Not that plane, but that.
All the time.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. It's a wonderful plane from a passenger experience. They pressurize the plane to 5,000 feet, not 8,000 feet, and that makes a significant difference in how you feel when you get off the plane. For those passengers, from a passenger experience, the plane has larger windows. It's a wonderful plane to sightsee from as a passenger. And the pilots love it. Remember, this is the first time in the history of the plane that they've ever had a fatal incident. So this will also be addressed.
Peter, while I have you, and again, I really appreciate you jumping on the breaking news. I was going to talk about this story later on the show. An airline shutting down, Silver Airways, is shuttering operations. I'd never even heard of Silver Airways.
Yep, I've flown Silver. They were based in Fort Lauderdale. They didn't have a lot of airplanes. They only had about 8 that were operational. They were having financial difficulties in 23 and 24. And in fact, they actually filed for bankruptcy protection on December 30th of last year. So they were operating under that protection, hoping to find a buyer to take them out of bankruptcy. But they only had about, maybe $90 million in assets. They had $400 million in debt. And in fact, in the last couple of weeks, they didn't really have 8 planes left because a number of them had been repossessed by creditors.
Oh, geez.
So it's a sad day. They flew a number of great routes around Florida, also to the Bahamas, and it's always a sad day when we lose an airline like that. But right now, there's nobody out there really poised to take over that airline simply because the debt ratio is too high.
Fort Lauderdale-based Silver Airways. Okay. Peter, great stuff as always. Thank you so much. If you get any more information on this tragic Air India flight, please feel free to reach out to us, buddy.
Will do, man.
There you go. Peter Greenberg on the breaking news. In case you're just joining us, Air India Flight 171 went down shortly after takeoff. 242 souls on board, landed in a residential neighborhood just off of the airport campus. And sadly, it looks like there will be some fatalities on the ground as well. Coming up later in the show, we're going to talk to CBS News transportation analyst Chris Van Cleve as we get more information on this tragic situation in India. Coming up next, we have a BioLab update, and the Mercedes-Benz Stadium is going to undergo some transformations getting ready for the FIFA World Cup. We'll tell you about those. But first, still looking at pretty sizable delays down on the south side. What can you tell us now, Chinwe Maponia Cook?
Yeah, the delays are still there, even though now this crash, I-75 southbound, right at Highway 155, is only taking out a right lane. You still got a low and slow go of it down there if you're trying to get to McDonough. You can take Highway 42 to avoid those delays. This report is sponsored by Whole Foods Market. Shop sweet savings at Whole Foods Market. Get red cherries for $4.99 per pound with Prime through June 17th. While supplies last, shop in-store or online. Terms apply. I'm Chinwe Maponia Cook, 95.5 WSB.
He's the guy at the desk next to you.
So if you can't handle your real face, then don't tell me how to handle my life.
He's your co-pilot for the ride home.
They have a lot more money now because they stopped kneeling.
Eric Von Hessler.
Things are going to get broken.
Eric Von Hessler.
Today at 3.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Hey, as Shelley went to sleep apnea could be silently wrecking your health. Untreated, it spikes your risk of heart disease, strokes, and diabetes. Are you snoring loudly? Waking up exhausted? Your body's sounding the alarm. Don't ignore it. Are you frustrated with a CPAP? Those bulky masks and noisy tubes aren't for everyone. Palmetto Sleep has a better answer. Custom oral appliances, quiet, comfortable, and perfect for mild to moderate sleep apnea. Sleep better, feel better. No sleep lab needed. Get an at-home sleep test in your own bed, often covered by Medicare or your company plans. Save your health. Call Palmetto Sleep now at 770-230-0222. That's 770-230-0222. That's 770-230-0222. Palmetto Sleep, your health deserves better. Call 770-230-0222. That's the phone number. Get a good night's sleep now. Call Palmetto Sleep.
Market volatility isn't slowing down. If you're nearing retirement, now is not the time to wait and see. Every day of uncertainty can put your future at risk. It's time to diversify. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I want you to know you can create certainty, locking in guaranteed income for life. This means predictable, stable cash flow, even in turbulent times. You've worked too hard to leave your retirement to chance. Right now, there are options to receive up to 30% upfront or annual growth of up to 10% for retirement income. That's up to $30,000 upfront or up to $10,000 per year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't wait. Call 404-390-4000. That's 404-390-4000.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Any examples provided are hypothetical. Annuities are issued with prospectus and sales brochures and should be reviewed carefully before funding as features and benefits vary. DBA in most states as Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions.
This is Scott Slade, and nothing takes the place of time when it comes to spotting problems with your health, especially cancer. The earlier the better. That's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual Imaging's LDCT body scan can be invaluable, giving you more time for you and your loved ones to take charge of your health. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. Due to overwhelming demand for a limited time, their $995 core body scan offer has been extended. It's a $2,495 value. Early detection saves lives, and now it's more affordable than ever. Virtual Imaging has gotten such great response to this offer that they've opened up more times in both offices, but appointments will fill up fast, so don't wait. Some minimum requirements may apply. Early detection is your best protection. To schedule your virtual imaging $995 core body scan, call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. If you're over 50 and tired of your wireless bill getting higher and higher, there are 4 things to consider. 1, how much data are you really using? As we get older, we use less data on our wireless phone, but you're probably still paying for an unlimited plan that was designed for 20-somethings. 2, if you see "Get a Phone on Us," get your sneakers out and run the other way. No one is giving you a free phone. You are paying for that phone over time with an overpriced rate plan and a long-term commitment. 3, check the fine print on that $15 a month plan. It's probably an intro price that'll double or triple later. You might even have to pay for several months of service up front. Number 4, be aware of cable company wireless plans. Most of your usage will be on Wi-Fi instead of 5G, and your calls and battery life could suffer. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide service without the big wireless bill. Our plans start at just $20 a month.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
What has happened in Ahmedabad is a very tragic accident. We have lost a lot of people. We extend our deepest condolences to all those who have lost their loved ones.
That's Jaiswal Randir, spokesman for the Indian Ministry of External Affairs. Welcome back to the Mark Arum Show. Deborah, I got a couple of messages on social media from, I'm assuming, pilots, and they wanted me to ask. I didn't see the message until after we had gotten off with Peter Greenberg, but they said the flaps should have been down on that plane, and they weren't, hinting at pilot error. But luckily, CBS News transportation analyst Chris Van Cleve's going to join us after the news at 11. I'll ask him the question about the flaps, but as much as I bash social media, great stuff from a couple of listeners about that flap question. I just wish I had seen those while we had Peter. But fear not, Chris Van Cleve will answer that question coming up after the news at 11. All right, a couple of big local stories. Sadly, I'm going to be out of town for that first FIFA club championship thing that's going on here, but I'll be back for the regular tournament. What are the changes that are be going on at Mercedes-Benz Stadium because of the big soccer tournaments?
Yeah, so we're about a year away now from World Cup coming to town. The city's been prepping us for a while, and one big thing is going to be at the Benz. Now that we call it the Benz, it is officially the Mercedes-Benz, right? They're going to have to change its name because they promised FIFA it would be commercial-free. So they don't market things the same way we do here in the United States and other countries. You don't slap a logo on everything. So we're going to have to cover up the name of the Mercedes-Benz to play some of those games. All the logos would be covered. The police are actually starting a new security unit for people coming in and out, especially with all the different languages that people are speaking. And the big thing is they're going to have to change the turf or the grass that's on the pitch because, you know, the NFL plays on, well, it's not AstroTurf anymore, but, you know, it's that fake grass.
Yeah.
So soccer prefers a different type of grass. It would be real grass, but now this is kind of a hybrid. It's a hybrid of Bermuda and rye and a synthetic all stitched together. It kind of looks real, but it's not. It's very interesting if you ever get to touch it.
Well, I'm sure Ashley Frasca, host of Green and Growing, knows all about the new turf for the FIFA World Cup. I find it interesting. So they're going to have to cover up all the Mercedes-Benz logos. But correct me if I'm wrong, but the jerseys that the European soccer players wear in their club matches, there's advertisements all over them.
Those are individual teams, though. Those, you know, like that's the Atlanta Falcons being sponsored by Home Depot or something like that. But the Team United States isn't necessarily have like a Coca-Cola logo on it.
Get a Mark Arum Show logo on Team USA.
Can we?
I
do want to get soccer scarves. I've been trying to get that out there.
How about, what is it? Is it called a kit? A soccer kit?
A kit, yeah. That's a jersey. We call it a jersey. It's called a kit.
Can we get a Mark Arum Show soccer kit?
I mean, I can look into it. I don't know how big our budget is.
Vinny, you want one, right? Vinny,
absolutely.
Yeah,
I'd rather have a scarf. Wouldn't you rather have a scarf?
I think soccer jerseys might be the best ones.
We're in Atlanta. We don't need scarves.
You know that they're very, they're very fitted shirts.
Well, get me an XL.
Yeah, I've been in the gym. Yeah.
Vinny works out. I would like to see that. Yeah, we'll appeal to the younger generation, the football fans.
All right.
Yeah, Vinny can wear it out to the club, to the hookah bar, wherever Vinny decides to go. All right, interesting. All right, so that's going to be a pain in the neck, though, to get rid of all the sponsorship off of Mercedes-Benz Stadium. But very exciting. There was a story yesterday, we didn't get a chance to do it, that the city of Atlanta is trying to get rid of all the homeless people before 2026.
They're trying to get them away from downtown, not necessarily get them out of the area, maybe find better housing, temporary housing, or places for the ones downtown.
All right. News, weather, and traffic in 2 minutes. When we come back, big changes at the CDC. We go in depth next on the Mark Arum Show.
Critters creeping? Better call Breda Pest Management. They handle bugs and critters. And Breda is proud to sponsor Scott Slade, Georgia, every Thursday on Atlanta's Morning News.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
The global phenomenon, The Chosen, has arrived.
The world is changing, and Jesus offers a vision to redeem it.
He's not the Messiah!
The table is set. This is a place to worship the Father.
But you make it a den of thieves!
Everything has led to this moment. And nothing will ever be the same.
What have you done?
The Chosen Last Supper. June 15th, Season 5 on Prime Video.
Attention men, are you suffering from ED or PE? Here's an important message from Choice Men's Health.
I'm Dr. Katz and I'm the Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Are you performing the way you want to in the bedroom? If the answer is no and you've tried Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra and were disappointed, then you need to come see us immediately. If you don't see results on the first visit, then there's no charge. Many of our patients have medical conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and prostate problems. I'm happy to say that we have 98% success rate with all our patients. Our customized solutions will allow you to perform within 10 minutes and last an hour and even longer. You can regain your love life and tackle your ED and PE problems. Guys, your partner will never complain again. Our clinic has the most affordable prices, so if you visit other clinics and you're not completely satisfied, then you need to call Choice Men's Health.
Regain your love life regardless of your age or medical history. Choice Men's Health guarantees results on your first visit or you pay nothing. Call now, 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Hey, remember that crack in the concrete by your pool, the one everyone keeps tripping on? It's still there. AquaGuard Foundation Solutions can fix that. Just schedule a free inspection at aquaguard.net and a team of experts will stop by to help you out. Remember the name.
AquaGuard.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Good morning at 10 o'clock. I'm Graham Carroll. This news brought to you by TE Certified Electrical, Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Our top local story, hundreds of fired employees at Atlanta-based agencies learning they're getting their jobs back at the CDC. But WSB's Steve Summers reports many are wondering what they'll be going back to.
The good news is more than 460 terminated CDC employees are back on the payroll. But Sarah Boyne with Fired But Fighting, a group of CDC workers let go in budget cuts, says they won't know where to start.
There's surveillance gaps. There's outbreaks missed. There was grants that were going unprocessed.
Half those rehired work fighting infectious diseases. Boyne says they'll have to start over.
You can't just pick up a lab sample and use it after it's not been managed for 2 months.
The cuts came amid a rise in measles and polio and continued HIV in the U.S. Steve Summers, 95.5 WSB.
Now, these callbacks do not include the agency's Vaccine Advisory Committee members. HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. selecting 8 new panel members.
Some of the names will raise eyebrows. One, Dr. Robert Malone, has been repeatedly accused by fact-checkers of making misleading claims about the safety and effectiveness of COVID vaccines. Other appointees have aired similar skepticism.
Stephen Portnoy reports Kennedy calls the dismissal of the panel's 17 members and the replacements a major step toward restoring public trust in vaccines. The move has been widely criticized by physicians groups. An overnight domestic dispute ends with the death of a man at a Buckhead apartment complex. Atlanta Police Homicide Commander Andrew Smith says it started with the man showing up at his estranged wife's building at the Cortland Peachtree Battle Complex on Peachtree Road.
Often people will hold doors for individuals. There were 2 shots fired.
He says the man's wife and 2 people with her fought back in self-defense, killing him. No names have been released. Local Indian officials say there do not appear to be any survivors after an Air India flight bound for London goes down in a residential area. The BBC's Nick Marsh says it happened just after takeoff from an airport in northwest India.
It was up in the air for less than a minute before that Mayday call, and then the plane came down. So clearly this is going to take some time before investigators start to piece together what happened.
242 people were aboard, mostly Indian and British nationals. The Aviation Safety Network says it's the first crash ever involving a Boeing 787 Dreamliner. The company's stock fell sharply upon word of the crash. Georgia Senator Raphael Warnock is weighing in on recent protests, including the Brookhaven incident, where a small number of demonstrators turned violent. Warnock says people wanting to express themselves must do so without breaking the law.
In a moment like this in our country, this moral moment, it is important that people's voices be heard and that they take their voices to the streets, but it must always be done peacefully.
Georgia Attorney General Chris Carr says he believes all Americans have the right to protest, but not the right to destroy property or attack law enforcement officers. It is National Seersucker Day, and Georgia's Raphael Warnock is co-chair of the Senate's recognition of the day. He says, quote, "Seersucker is more than just a fabric. It is a material deeply woven into Southern culture." Made popular in New Orleans in the early 1900s, seersucker fabric provides a more breathable alternative to wool suits in summer months. Seersucker is typically made out of cotton, one of Georgia's most important agricultural crops. There are over 50,000 cotton-related jobs throughout the state. It will be partly cloudy and humid with some highs in the mid-80s today. We'll have WSB's meteorologist Christina Edwards' most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. But right now it is 10:03 and time for the Mark Arum Show to continue in less than 2 minutes after live team coverage of traffic and weather. Smiling Mark McKay is live in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
All right, Graham, another morning of slow traffic rolling between Roswell, Sandy Springs. Crews are working again this morning on 400 southbound at Northridge Road, exit 6. You can always avoid those delays by using Highway 9. Slow out of Marietta, 75 southbound. Still seeing brake lights leaving 575 down to the North Loop. Looks like a right lane crash in Doraville on the outer loop, 285 westbound before Peachtree Boulevard, exit 31. Slow back toward I-85, and several tractor trailers involved in a crash, mainly off to the right now. I-75 southbound in McDonough at Highway 155, exit 216. Still going to be slow leaving Stockbridge. Smiler Mark McKay, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Partly cloudy, hot and humid today, high 88. A few hit or miss rain showers and storms through the afternoon, lows tonight in the low 70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with pop-up afternoon thunderstorms, high 86. Saturday, mostly cloudy with scattered rain showers and thunderstorms, highs in the mid-80s.
It is 78 degrees in Sandy Springs, 79 in College Park, and 77 degrees in Midtown Atlanta. More news at 10:30, breaking news when it happens. I'm Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
Welcome back to the show and a good Thursday morning to you. Mark Arum here, you there. It's 10:05, 5 minutes after 10 o'clock. This is the Mark Arum Show, live Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to noon on 95.5 WSB. Extended family with us today. Deborah, executive producer of the program. Vinny Two Slices, filling in for Longoria on the other side of the takeout window. Carlin screens your calls. Coming up in just a little bit, we're going to get the latest on the breaking news out of India. The fatal plane crash. It was heading to from India to England. 242 people on board, all believed dead. There might be some victims on the ground. We're going to talk to transportation analyst Chris Van Cleve coming up next hour. 11:35. Abbott Elementary star, actor, comedian Lisa Ann Walter is going to join us. One of the big local stories you heard on Atlanta's Morning News, CDC. We had the huge layoffs at the CDC. Well, more than 460 of those laid off employees will be reinstated. That according to a union representing the workers. So good news for that big outfit, the CDC here in Metro Atlanta. 460 folks that lost their jobs will be reinstated. CDC also in the news when it comes to RFK Jr. Basically decimating the vaccine board. Joining us live, health reporter for CBS News, Alexander Tin. Alexander, good morning. As always, thanks for your time.
Hi, morning. Thanks for having me on.
So how many members of this vaccine board were let go and why their sudden departure?
Yeah, well, look, just a few weeks ago, there were 17 members appointed by the Biden administration who were serving on this advisory committee on immunization practices. What Kennedy announced earlier this week is that he would be firing all of them. That means all 17, and then replacing them with new members that he is now picking. He announced them actually last night. The other thing that we're recently reporting is that the CDC career officials who oversee the board, its planning, its vetting, its process, those officials have also been removed from the process. They were replaced by CDC Chief of Staff Matt Buzzelli. He's the Trump-appointed de facto head of the agency right now.
So were these folks fired with cause, without cause? Is it just up to the Health and Human Services Director to make and break these appointments?
Yeah, look, the law is pretty clear, and what we've heard both from the department and from lawyers who've looked at the law is that he is well within his authority to terminate the members of this committee. Now, of course, the reason that he cites for it is something that a lot of experts dispute. He claims that a lot of the former advisors on the panel had conflicts of interest. That's a pretty complicated claim, and he has a whole bunch of reasons why he claims they have conflicts of interest. But, of course, it's important to be clear. The CDC has a very long and extensive process they usually go through to screen for conflicts of interest and ensure that those don't interfere with their decisions.
What exactly are the responsibilities of this board? Because I'm not going to lie, Alexander, I didn't even know of its existence until recently.
Yeah, look, the reason that health experts, health authorities pay so much attention to the CDC's Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices is because their vaccine recommendations, they don't just inform, clinical practice, what your doctor decides to say you should get this time, but it also informs a whole bunch of federal policies. For example, there is a federal requirement for health insurance companies to fully cover the cost of a whole bunch of vaccines. That list of which vaccines they're required to cover is directly tied to what the committee recommends. So if the committee's membership changes and their recommendations change, that also changes what health insurance is required to cover. And if health insurers stop covering some vaccines, that doesn't just mean that you have to pay out of pocket. A lot of pharmacies, a lot of doctors will stop carrying and stocking those vaccines if they're not covered by insurance.
Wow. Alexander Tin from CBS News joining us live on the Mark Arum Show. We're starting to see the replacements there, and I've seen in your reporting that some of the replacements that Kennedy has nominated or placed on this board are, putting it mildly, vaccine critics, right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, look, when you look at the history of a lot of these picks, number one, it's clear that a lot of them have close ties to Kennedy or President Trump. For example, one of the picks that's been widely criticized, Dr. Robert Malone, he was accused of spreading misinformation about COVID-19 during the pandemic. He was accused of spreading misinformation about measles during the recent record outbreak. He was in Florida with Kennedy and President Trump on election night. He's made it pretty clear on his Substack newsletter that he's no fan of the COVID-19 vaccines and thinks nobody should be getting them right now. There are a bunch of other people who are added to the board. They include people who have long lobbied against vaccine approvals, people who question the safety of vaccines. And there are a handful of other experts where, that record isn't so clear. There's some people where people just don't know a lot about them. There are others who have served previously on, federal vaccine advisory committees. And at least one person, Dr. Cody Meisner, that at least some experts hope is at least going to be one voice of reason on the panel.
Interesting. Now, does this put the future of vaccines in the United States in doubt, in jeopardy?
Yeah, I mean, look, just to reiterate what I mentioned earlier, it's important to be clear with folks. I mean, the reason that this committee is so important is because that the way the law is written, their recommendations directly translate to, access to vaccines, not just for insurance coverage, but for uninsured kids, for liability protections. So much of the, laws that are around how vaccines are given and, accessed in this country are directly tied to their recommendations. We're going to see our first preview of how those recommendations might change not too long from now. Later this month, they are going to have their first meeting of this new makeup of advisors, and there's a whole bunch of recommendation votes, including on COVID-19 vaccines, that are scheduled.
Final question for you, Alexander. I don't know if you heard me mention before we brought you on the air that 460 CDC employees in Atlanta are getting their jobs back. Do you have any insight on what led to those reversals of the layoffs?
Yeah, look, when you look at the list of people who were brought back, it's not surprising a lot of the people. Those are some of the cuts that have been widely criticized by not just Democrats, but by a whole bunch of health experts. For example, the CDC's lead poisoning experts, they were laid off in the middle of responding to an emergency in Milwaukee. The STD outbreak testing labs who were responsible for investigating outbreaks before they were laid off. A lot of those widely criticized layoffs are the people who are now being brought back. And we know that a lot of members of Congress and a lot of outside groups have been lobbying both the Secretary and the CDC to bring these people back up to the job.
Gotcha. Alexander Tin, CBS News. Alexander, as always, great insight. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
There you go. Interesting. All right. So good news for the folks here at the CDC that were without employment. And I have some friends that work at the CDC. They still have their jobs, but they were nervous that they're going to be able to keep them for much longer. But if they're bringing back 460, maybe they're going to start to revamp and re-up the enlistment of the CDC workers. Obviously, a big employer here in Metro Atlanta. All right, we're going to continue our coverage of the tragic Air India Flight 171, the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. Chris Van Cleve from CBS News, he's their transportation analyst. He's going to join us at 11:12. I do want to update the story that if it wasn't for this India air crash, I probably would have led the show off with this today. Some major movement in the Mideast. Apparently, Israel ready to launch a military operation against Iran because of those concerns. The U.S. pulling some non-essential personnel and family members from the region. This comes as the U.S. and Iran are set to hold a sixth rounds of talks for nuclear peace agreement. CBS's Ed O'Keefe's at the White House with more.
Iranian officials say they're not going to abandon what they believe is their right to enrich uranium and want the U.S. to lift sanctions put in place in 2018 when President Trump dropped a previous agreement to curb Iran's nuclear program that had been negotiated by President Obama and European countries. As for the possible Israeli operation against Iran, both Israeli officials and the White House had no official comment.
We did hear from President Trump, though, yesterday at the Kennedy Center. He confirmed that U.S. personnel being moved out of parts of the Middle East.
Well, they are being moved out because it could be a dangerous place, and we'll see what happens. But we've given notice to move out, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, when you start moving out diplomats in the area, that's kind of like the canary in the coal mine. Like, oh, we think something is going to happen. Jonathan Karl from ABC has more.
This is a clear indication that the United States believes that an Israeli attack on Iran's nuclear facilities is likely to happen soon. The State Department has ordered the withdrawal of all non-essential U.S. diplomats out of Iraq, while the Pentagon has authorized the departure of military family members from the Middle East as the region braces for the possibility of another war.
Yeah, I mean, read the writing on the wall. That doesn't happen often. Shannon Kingston at the State Department.
There's a lot of movement going on at embassies that are near Iran within potential striking distance. At the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad, the State Department has ordered a partial evacuation. And so what that means is that non-essential personnel are going to have to depart now. And then in Kuwait and Bahrain, which are two tiny countries on the Persian Gulf, what they're doing there is what's called an authorized departure. So family members, non-essential staff, they can leave if they want to.
All right, so even though there are nuclear talks going on right now between the U.S. and Iran, it appears that Israel is poised to strike Iran's nuclear facilities, which could cause some chaos, to say the least, in the region. Any updates on that through the day, through the weekend, we'll give them to you here on 95.5 WSB. Not an international story because it's part of the U.S. Vinny, Two Slices, you're young. I don't know how much traveling you've done. You ever been to Puerto Rico?
No Puerto Rico.
No Puerto Rico. I've been a couple times. I had a great time. They got casinos and beaches and history and food and and sites, other sites. Deborah, have you ever been to Puerto Rico?
I have not been to Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. Apparently, so it's a U.S. territory, but apparently there's talk on the island that I don't know if it's seceding from the United States or what the process would be, but there's a faction of folks in Puerto Rico that want to go back to being a Spain territory, not a United States territory.
Yeah, Puerto Rico has been part of the U.S. since 1898, but there's a big part of the population that says they think they'd be better under Spanish rule. It's the Adelante Reunificacionistas, or Forward Reunification, or Progressives. And it's this big political movement that's really gaining some momentum there, saying, yeah, we should reintegrate with Spain. Most of us still speak Spanish, and the founders say about 13% of Puerto Ricans already support this idea. So it's kind of continuing to grow.
Interesting. I wonder... And again, 13%, that's far from a majority. I don't even know what the process would be for Puerto Rico to say, oh, we're now part of Spain instead of the United States. But living in New York, there is a huge Puerto Rican population in New York City. One of the greatest events of my life was the Puerto Rican Day Parade, like just experiencing that. Sure. What would happen? Because they're U.S. citizens, right? You're in New York.
They're citizens, but they don't get to vote like in the presidential election. They don't have representation in Congress. So often I think Puerto Ricans kind of feel like, well, we're American, but we don't have the same rights as Americans. So there's always been this back and forth of, should they become a state? Should they declare independence? So now this other group is saying, no, we should go back to Spain.
But I'm saying if that goes through, do all the Puerto Ricans that currently live here lose that, that U.S. citizenship?
Oh, yeah.
That would be, or do they get dual citizenship? Do they get... interesting. I did not see that coming.
Great question, Mark.
Thank you, Vin.
Great question.
That's all I do is ask great questions here on the Mark Arum Show. My next great question will be: Where are the traffic hotspots right now, Smiling Mark McKay?
Rugged Mark out of Roswell headed south toward Sandy Springs. Thought we might have had work crews taking out a lane. There may be a crash in the mix. We're scanning the jam cam. We certainly see the delays as you leave Northridge exit 6, and those delays stretch all the way back before Holcomb Bridge Road, so it's a rugged ride out of Roswell toward Sandy Springs. Highway 9 will give you some relief. Com Police have been working to crash I-75 southbound on the left shoulder before the North Merritt Parkway exit 265, and tough go of it on I-75 leaving Stockbridge toward McDonough. A lot of slow traffic leaving I-675 past a crash. Had involved several tractor trailers. Looks like all clear now on I-75 southbound, all lanes open. Highway 155 exit 216. This report sponsored by Active Pest Control. Enjoy a pest-free home with Active Pest Control's pest-free 365 service to save $5 off your initial pest service. That's $50 off your next initial pest service. Visit ActivePestControl.com today. Smiler Mark McKay, 95.5 WSB.
In Atlanta, there is always something happening.
Tanker truck crashed into the median.
The Triple Team Traffic Center has you covered.
No traffic getting through in either direction.
Helping you on your commute.
Avoid the area at all costs. Take Highway 155 or Highway 4223.
Brought to you by the Cool Ray Lifetime Parts and Labor Warranty.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
These days, the Atlanta real estate market is just like Atlanta weather, unpredictable. Hi, I'm Deborah Morton, host of Inside Georgia Real Estate here on WSB every Saturday at 1 p.m. If there was ever a time to work with a true real estate expert, now is that time. In all my years in residential real estate, this is the most change and volatility I've seen. A misstep could cost thousands. This is when experience matters. My team and I are passionate about providing clarity to our clients through our expertise in real estate. So, if you're thinking of buying or selling a home, we can give you that clarity so you can make great choices and the best decisions. And yes, I host Inside Georgia Real Estate here on WSB, but you don't have to wait until Saturday for help. Go to InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com and ask me anything. My team and I are here for you. Go to InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com for clarity in buying or selling your home.
How easy is it to save energy and money in seconds? Power down unused devices, swap out traditional bulbs for LEDs, and adjust your thermostat for the season. Get more tips at georgiapower.com/energy efficiency today. Ready, set, save.
I imagine one of the few downsides to going to advanced hair and have them do the procedure that regrows your natural hair is you're probably going to have to get some more haircuts. You're gonna have to increase the frequency that you go to the barbershop. Hey, it's Mark Aaron back for my good friends at Advanced Hair. Yes, it's a proven solution. Advanced Hair will regrow your hair where it's currently gone. So if you got a bad receding hairline or bald spots, the hair's been gone for a while, it doesn't have to be that way anymore with Advanced Hair. Quick, simple, one-day treatment, and your real hair begins to regrow. The very next day, it's guaranteed to grow for life. So if you get the procedure, plan on going to the barbershop more frequently. If you want to get your hair back, now's the time. Advanced Hair is the place. Need that free consultation first, though, guys. Schedule now, 470-660-HAIR or advancedhair.com. And if you move forward, get $250 off plus 250 free grafts. One-day treatment, life-changing results, your own natural hair, guaranteed to grow.
Cancer upends your life. We're doing all we can to change that. At Winship Cancer Institute of Emory University, we're reimagining the care experience to ease the burden of cancer with experts in your cancer and the research, trials, and treatments you can only get here. All so you can focus on what matters most, the best chance of living a full life. Winship Cancer Institute of Emory University. Cancer care designed around you and your life. EmoryHealthcare.org/Winship.
I've found your next go-to service team for Porsche, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Audi. It's Wolf Pen European Auto Repair in Roswell. Honest pricing with certified factory techs who won't run up the tab with repairs you don't need. See the difference when you search Wolf Pen Auto Repair.
The reason many of us hate insurance companies is because some of them act like bullies. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. I've been dealing with these creatures my whole career. Whether it's a workers' comp claim, an auto accident, or a nursing home or medical mishap, the playbook is often the same: deny and delay. We became the largest injury firm in America for a reason. We fight the bullies. They know who we are, and I know it makes a difference for our clients. Just go to forthepeople.com and see our results and our verdicts after those bullies gave us us their final offer. Hiring the wrong firm can be disastrous. Hiring the right firm could substantially increase your settlement. It's easy to get going. Visit forthepeople.com on your phone or computer, or call us on your cell at pound law, pound 529. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. forthepeople.com.
Morgan & Morgan Atlanta, 191 Peachtree Street, Atlanta, Georgia. Dial pound law. Prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome.
Hey, as Shelley Winter, sleep apnea could be silently wrecking your health. Untreated, it spikes your risk of heart disease, strokes, and diabetes. Are you snoring loudly? Waking up exhausted? Your body's sounding the alarm. Don't ignore it. Are you frustrated with a CPAP? Those bulky masks and noisy tubes aren't for everyone. Palmetto Sleep has a better answer. Custom oral appliances, quiet, comfortable, and perfect for mild to moderate sleep apnea. Sleep better, feel better. No sleep lab needed. Get an at-home sleep test in your own bed, often covered by Medicare or your company plans. Save your health. Call Palmetto Sleep now at 770-230-0222. That's 770-230-0222. That's 770-230-0222. Palmetto Sleep, your health deserves better. Call 770-230-0222. That's the phone number. Get a good night's sleep now. Call Palmetto Sleep.
44 years ago today, I can actually tell you where I was. A red letter day in Mark Aram history. 44 years ago today, Raiders of the Lost Ark premiered in the United States. Deborah, in my small town of Torrington, Connecticut, there's a theater. We have a movie theater, 2 screens, and there were 2 movies available. It was Raiders of the Lost Ark and Clash of the Titans.
Wow.
And my dad, super great guy, was like, hey, he knew I wanted to see Clash of the Titans, so we went out there, because that was the big blockbuster that was coming out, Clash of the Titans. We get there, it's sold out. Oh. And so 44, I was 6, 7 years old, and I was devastated. I really wanted to see Clash of the Titans. And my dad's like, hey, don't worry, there's another movie, Raiders of the Lost Ark. I'm sure it's going to be great. You know, stop crying, kid. No, I don't know if I was crying or not, but I was upset. I was like, I'm a kid. So instead, we went to see Raiders of the Lost Ark. Changed my life.
Yep, changed your life.
I left that thinking I want to be an archaeologist. Like, it was, Harrison Ford, the greatest movie star of all time, one of the best movies. Raiders of the Lost Ark, of course, the Ark of the Covenant. Yeah. And then every other edition of, not every other edition, but future editions of the Indiana Jones all had to do with religious artifacts, right?
All of them.
The Cup of Christ. Was
the chalice.
The chalice, yeah. So I just 44. I know exactly where I was. 44. I was sullen, and then I was ecstatic because it was such a great movie. You ever seen Raiders of the Lost Ark, Vinny?
I have not. No.
Oh my gosh, Vinny!
I know.
Put that on your list, podcast.
Another one on the list.
Ken Charles put it on the list. Speaking of religion, third biggest religion in the world, and this is kind of a trick question, is what, Deborah?
Third biggest religion in the world. I would not have guessed this correctly. It's actually none. No religious affiliation at all. So a new study shows that Christianity still comes in at the largest with 122 million people globally, but the fastest growing is actually Islam, and that's because of higher birth rates in places where it's practiced, where it's the Middle East or North Africa. But then coming in at number 3 is no religion
Zero
at
religion.
all. Yeah.
What's 4? Hinduism, Buddhism? Do we know?
It doesn't tell me that, but it says Buddhists were the least growing. Or actually was the only one they saw a decline was Buddhism, and then Judaism had the smallest growth with only 6%. Yeah, Judaism, they don't invite a lot of people to enjoy.
We don't go out
and
proselytize. No, I mean, we should change because we are a very small portion of the populace. All right, news, weather, and traffic 3 minutes away. When we come back, the latest on the tragic Air India flight still to come. Lisa Ann Walter, actor, comedian from Abbott Elementary, is going to join us live. And Deborah's got tickets to see the Dave Matthews Band. Fantastic stuff. Social media is active at Mark Aram and at WSB Radio.
This is Scott Slade, and nothing takes the place of time when it comes to spotting problems with your health, especially cancer. The earlier, the better. That's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual Imaging's LDCT body scan can be invaluable, giving you more time for you and your loved ones to take charge of your health. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. Due to overwhelming demand for a limited time, their $995 core body scan offer has been extended. It's a $2,495 value. Early detection saves lives, and now it's more affordable than ever. Virtual Imaging has gotten such great response to this offer that they've opened up more times in both offices, but appointments will fill up fast, so don't wait. Some minimum requirements may apply. Early detection is your best protection. To schedule your virtual imaging $995 core body scan, call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
What if your home had everything? Fitness, fun, and total relaxation all in one place. A Bullfrog Swim Spa from Brown's Pools and Spas is the ultimate backyard upgrade. Swim or soak, warm or cool, all year round. Plenty of space to exercise, play, and of course relax without taking up the entire backyard. Right now, get financing for 120 months, an instant rebate up to $2,500, and a free zero-gravity swim spa hammock. Hurry, sale ends June 16th. BrownsPools.com.
We're all getting long in the tooth, friends, am I right? What about your heating and cooling systems? Are they aging? Well, let Reliable Heating and Air protect your AC from breakdowns and your budget, just $14.99 a month. Reliable Heating and Air, licensed, bonded, and insured. Amazing service. I can tell you firsthand, Reliable is the best. They're licensed, bonded, and insured. No deductibles, no claims or paperwork, no service fees, just amazing coverage for as low as $14.99 a month. And next day installation guaranteed, or they pay you $500. So protect your aging heating and cooling system with the amazing folks at Reliable Heating and Air. Just $14.99 a month gives you amazing peace of mind. Get all the info and schedule a consultation online at ReliableAir.com. That's ReliableAir.com. Don't wait until your aging systems go kaput. Get your protection now at ReliableAir.com.
At Shane Company, we've been engagement ring experts for almost 100 years. We have the largest selection of diamonds and gemstones in stock. You don't have to wait to compare them side by side. Find the one that speaks to you at shaneco.com or in store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
Good morning at 10:30. I'm Graham Carroll. This news brought to you by your Metro Atlanta Amco dealers. Our top story, everyone on board is feared dead after an Air India flight to London crashes just after takeoff from an airport in northwest India. Aviation expert David Lee says the Boeing 787 does have an excellent track record.
It's very unusual for this type of airplane to have any problems that are significant. The international coordination efforts will have already started. The American investigators will be notified shortly, if not already, by the Indian authorities and invited to join in the investigation, as they are the state of manufacture and design of the aircraft.
And officials say there are likely casualties on the ground as well. There were 242 people on the plane that was bound for Gatwick Airport in London, mostly Indian and British citizens. Gwinnett police are trying to find the suspects behind a brazen and quite unusual armed robbery. Employees at a Dollar General store on Lawrenceville-Swanee Road have their cell phones taken but are not injured after two men hold up the store, one of them wielding a machete.
Just fortunately, nobody was injured in such a violent crime like this. And so investigators need the help from the public. We want to identify these individuals and bring them to justice.
The thieves also left with 3 empty deposit bags from the store. Police looking for 2 tall, slender black men. Pictures of the suspects are posted on our website. All new this morning, if you have a short-term rental property in Roswell, get ready for some policy changes.
The Roswell City Council votes to require properties on Airbnb, Vrbo, and more to undergo safety inspections just like commercial buildings. City Attorney Joseph Cusack says they also have to register with the Business Registration Office so the fire marshal can conduct yearly inspections.
They're going to have to register next year. So there's basically a 6-month on-ramp for us to get the word out that you now have to register your short-term rental within the city.
One resident at the meeting says he believes this puts short-term rentals at a disadvantage. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
Marietta customers will soon experience an uptick in water rates. Marietta Water says its bills will go up by 3.5% starting next month. The utility says it is passing on increases in expenses from the Cobb County water system. The rate hike will mean an increase of about $1.25 a month for the average residential customer. Teenagers only need a little extra sleep on weekends to catch up from their busy weeks. That's according to a new study published in the American Academy of Sleep Medicine, which shows getting 2 more hours of sleep on weekends helps reduce anxiety symptoms. But that study also finds sleeping significantly longer can increase anxiety in teens. The CDC estimates only 23% of American teens get their recommended 8 to 10 hours of sleep each night. Heads up, if you're traveling out of town this weekend, Hartsfield-Jackson officials say it will be busier than usual today and tomorrow with nearly 200,000 travelers passing through the airport each day. They're urging people to get there extra early. Despite this notice from the airport, current wait times at security checkpoints are actually less than 10 minutes. It is 10:33. It's time for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Smiling Mark McKay in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Quite sluggish into Sandy Springs. Graham from Roswell. Crews have been working off and on. May have had a crash in the mix as well, but yes, plan on the slowdown as you approach Holcomb Bridge Road, exit 7, trying to get past Northridge, exit 6, Highway 9. Will give you relief if you want to use that as an alternate. On and off the brakes, it's starting to improve, though, between Duluth and Norcross on I-85. Same story out of Cobb County. I-75 slowing, leaving Kennesaw. Town Center Mall, Barrett Parkway region down to the North Marietta Parkway. In downtown Atlanta, rolling past Georgia Tech in a bit of slow traffic on the southbound side of the connector. A little more crowded 75-85 northbound, leaving University Avenue, exit 244. Up into Midtown. Smiler Mark McKay, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy, hot and humid today, high 88. A few pop-up storms through the afternoon, lows tonight in the low 70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with pop-up afternoon storms, high 86. Mostly cloudy on Saturday with widespread rain showers and thunderstorms, high 85.
78 degrees in Decatur, 79 in Vinings, and 78 degrees in Midtown. More news at 11 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
When news breaks,
there are protests going on in Chicago, in New York, and right here in Atlanta.
We've got it covered.
Brookhaven police stress that the organizers of this demonstration did communicate and cooperate with them.
Tune in often for the latest.
We want people to not be deported, families to not be separated.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's breaking news station.
Coming up next, the very latest on the tragic air crash in India, and General Motors set to make a major investment in the United States. The details 2 minutes away in the Mark Arum Show.
When everyone in the family wants something different from this year's vacation, there's only one thing to do. Plan for Pigeon Forge. From gorgeous mountain views, shows, and shopping for leisure lovers, to coasters, a 200-foot swing, and hundreds more rides for adventure seekers. Plus Dollywood's epic array of fun. There's plenty of variety for the whole family, all in one place. Unique experiences, quality time, and memories for years to come. Find your personal favorites. Plan your getaway at mypigeonforge.com.
The big focus in America today is on your health, and more people looking beyond pills and steroids and surgery. Hey, it's Mark Arum for QC Kinetics. At QC Kinetics, they've been on the cutting edge of this medical revolution since 2018. Using regenerative medicine, they have helped tens of thousands of people get lasting joint pain relief using natural treatments that harness your body's own healing power. The truth is, regenerative medicine used to be an alternative treatment. Now it's mainstream, and QC Kinetics is the nation's leader. They're well-respected protocols include potent and powerful cellular-level treatments to revitalize and restore damaged joint tissue. They're not masking the pain. They're going after the very source of it. Yes, you can say goodbye to that chronic pain and live your best life. Learn more about this revolutionary treatment and get a free consultation. Call QC Kinetics now. 770-285-8026. 770-285-8026. That's 770-285-8026.
At Kroger, we've lowered prices on over 1,000 items across our stores so you can save even more. Whether you're shopping in-store or online at Kroger, we've lowered prices on thousands of the items your family wants and needs. And with lower prices, your dollar goes further every time you shop with us. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Check out this great deal. Right now, USDA Choice Boneless New York Half Strip Steaks are only $7.99 a pound with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hey everyone, it's your buddy Shelley Winter here. Join me this Saturday at noon for the Car Guys with Kevin Deutsch from Butler Lexus of South Atlanta. Buy or lease, fix or sell, everything you want to know about cars, we will cover Saturday noon to 1 right here on 95.5 WSB.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Remember that? 38 years ago today, you heard it on WSB Radio, standing near the Berlin Wall, President Reagan issued a challenge to the leader of the Soviet Union. East Germany shocked the world by opening the wall in 1989. A few months later, Germany reunified as communist governments in Eastern Europe absolutely crumbled. You remember that, Deborah? You have to remember that,
so
right?
That is one of the first real pieces of history I remember as a kid. Like, I remember it being on TV and thinking, this is significant. Like, that's one of the first things I remember.
I definitely, I was in high school, and that was a huge story. I mean, we were talking about it in history class. It was like living history, the wall fell. And then 2 years later, I go to college, and turned out to be one of my best friends, Nick Rodriguez, in his dorm room. You know, when you go to college, and Vinny, you know, decorating your dorm room was a big thing, right? You gotta have the cool posters up. You gotta have, you know, pictures. I'm sure, Deborah, you had rock posters all over.
Movie posters.
So my buddy Nick Rodriguez had a chunk of the Berlin Wall.
Oh, wow.
Like, and this was still fresh, you know, like it was only 2 years later. And, oh, man, the women swooned. They're like, is that really? He's like, yeah, I forgot even the story. He might have just.
Real?
He might be BS. You know, I'm going to text him.
Not real. It a piece of concrete he found?
No, it looked legit, though. It looked like.
But how would you know? Were you out at the Berlin Wall before then?
I was not. You know what?
Yeah.
Maybe we can get him on the air. I'll call him.
Fake Berlin Wall, fake arrowheads.
Yeah, he was just. Well, I mean, he wasn't using it to seduce me. Maybe it was a fake piece of the Berlin Wall. But that's crazy. 38 years ago today. All right, we're going to continue our coverage of the downed Air India flight. 242 souls on board. We've already talked to travel expert Peter Greenberg in the 9 o'clock hour. Coming up in the 11 o'clock hour, Chris Van Cleve, CBS transportation analyst, going to join us. And remind me, Deborah, I got to ask him about the flaps. The flaps not down, or the flaps were down. I forgot what the pilots told me, but that could have been an indication. Let's continue our coverage with ABC News transportation correspondent Sam Sweeney. He says the plane, as we mentioned, the 787 Dreamliner, had a flawless safety record until this crash.
Pilot had 8,200 hours of experience. This was an 11-year-old plane, and it was loaded with fuel. It was going from India to London Gatwick Airport. That's roughly a 10-hour flight, so you can imagine with all of that fuel, and you have impact with the building, the explosion there. We don't know about the co-pilot yet.
All right, so let me correct myself. I just assumed it was Heathrow, but it was actually going to Gatwick Airport, which is the other airport there in London. 10-hour flight, so that was a fully fueled Dreamliner that went down shortly after takeoff. The question now is, what happens with the investigation? ABC News contributor John Nance outlines how the investigation will take shape.
Basically, you rule nothing in, you rule nothing out at the beginning of this sort of an accident. But there are incredible indications here that we're going to be able to triangulate with a lot of different video. This is a different age than it was 10 or 20 years ago. We have actual video of crashes that can help anybody who's investigating it very, very profoundly.
And again, this was another crash involving a Boeing jet. You know, they've had some really, really bad luck in the last 2 years or so, even longer than that. And I questioned, Deborah, before the stock markets opened, how the market would react to Boeing. Boeing stock is down almost 5% right now, down to 203. There are a bunch of other Boeing subsidiaries. They're actually down more. Leverage shares are down 15%. Boeing BDR is down 4%. So I'm not surprised there. And again, this is the first time this Boeing 787 Dreamliner has had an incident. But again, it is another Boeing aircraft, which is not good. I grabbed this earlier this morning, right after the plane crash happened. David Susi from CNN commenting on the still developing story.
It's so tragic to watch, isn't it? And but what you can see in this is that after takeoff, typically the nose will come up and you'll see the aircraft rise. In this case, the nose comes up, but you can see that the wings are pulling up very hard. You can see they actually arc up. And at that point, the aircraft doesn't appear to have enough airspeed, and then it starts to fall, and that's called a slow stall, but it's starting to stall over the wing. The lift is gone. And you can see at that point, the aircraft doesn't have enough speed or altitude to maintain flight, and you can see it just sinks. As Mary said, it sinks. It's not an abrupt drop from the front of the nose. A stall typically buffets and then drops down directly. And in that case, as Mary said, with that fireball following, there is no survivability at that point.
No survivability. Again, 242 souls on board, and I'm afraid, Deborah, there's going to be fatalities on the ground because it crashed into a residential neighborhood there, not too far from that Indian airport. We'll continue our team coverage again. 11:12, Chris Van Cleve from CBS is going to join us with the very latest there, and any updates we get on that horrific crash, we will bring them to you live. I do want to update. I mentioned in the tease that General Motors, obviously the auto industry's been in flux up and down. They had huge retail sales before the tariffs, and now they're staring at steel and aluminum tariffs, but not preventing General Motors from making a major investment here in the United States. Deborah, how big an investment are we talking about here?
Yeah, this is huge. $4 billion investment in U.S. manufacturing plants over the next 2 years. They're going to be in Michigan, Tennessee, and Kansas, and they're going to do everything from full-size SUVs to light-duty trucks to some of the EV stuff and Cadillacs as well.
$4 billion. All right, so GM not shying away, a big $4 billion investment. None here impacting the metro area, though, right? None of these.
No, nothing in Georgia.
Yeah, I saw this story on AJC.com. I'm familiar. I don't know if you've ever been to Commerce, Georgia. Great little town, 65 miles northeast of Atlanta. I've been there. It's great, but I'm mostly familiar with crashes on 85 impacting the drive out of Commerce, right, from my my traffic days. So this is from the AJC this morning. Since 2019, Commerce has been a major beneficiary of the electric vehicle boom, thanks to the city's $2.6 billion SK Battery America plants, where 2,600 employees help produce the batteries that go into the Ford F-150 Lightning pickup truck. So I knew Commerce was booming. I actually didn't know it was because of this SK battery plant up there. So check it out, Deborah. Home prices in Jackson County, where Commerce is located, have risen 62%.
Oh, my gosh.
Local businesses and a Commerce library have seen funding investment roll in from the South Korean-owned manufacturer. But the growth of the sleepy city of 7,000 could be at risk if federal EV subsidies are rolled back as part of the proposed tax and spending bill passed by the U.S. House, now under consideration in the Senate. In its current form, the bill passed on May 22nd would eliminate the $7,500 tax credit for new EVs and production tax credits for manufacturers. If the rollback of the tax credits results in consumers buying fewer EVs, SK Battery likely would scale back its production and workforce. So I know there's a lot of anti-EV sentiment out there, and probably a lot of folks in Jackson County are like, I'm never going to buy it. But it's really helped Jackson County and specifically Commerce, $2.6 billion plant there. So I thought on the heels of that GM investment story, it might be worth mentioning what's going on in Commerce.
In Commerce, there's a racetrack up there?
Sure.
I think that's how I know it.
Yes.
I think I know it for a racetrack.
Absolutely. There is a racetrack in and around the Commerce. A cute little downtown area, by the way, if you've never been. So a couple of big automotive stories there. Another big local story I haven't gotten to yet. I'm still enraged about the BioLab story. BioLab now pushing back on some of the studies and test results following the BioLab fire and the plume.
Yeah, so BioLab, they got slapped with that $60,000 fine, which seems really small for the explosion and the plume that we had last fall. BioLab is contesting all 6 of the code violations that inspectors put on them for improper chemical storage that caused that fire. They said they were going to stop making the chemicals, and they did, but they still used it as a storage facility, so they had to challenge it, and they've got 15 days now to get a hearing in front of OSHA to take the next step. I know.
Unbelievable. This is a story that we're going to be talking about for years. I really don't think we'll know the end result of all the damage done by that BioLab fire and plume for maybe decades. It might take decades for us to find out what exactly the damage was done there. But thank you for the update there, Deborah. All right, when we come back, no immigration protests last night in Brookhaven. The protests continue in L.A., but there have been immigration raids that have targeted meat plants in Omaha, Nebraska, and fruit workers in California. They haven't been getting the headlines that the other raids have been receiving. But big immigration raids in Omaha and with fruit workers in California. We're going to get the latest from Bloomberg News after a quick check of traffic and a break in the action. Let's go live to Atlanta's only 24-hour traffic center. Smile Mark McKay.
Seems like we've not gotten a break this morning. Mark out of Stockbridge heading toward McDonough. This was all set into slow motion by a crash involving several tractor-trailers. I-75 southbound, Highway 155, exit 216. That crash is cleared. Still, though, the accordion effect takes you back to I-675. So 75 is slow, heading out of the heading toward the south side. Heading up from the airport on 75, 85, everything works well until you get onto the downtown connector. Then you'll see the brake lights, University Avenue, pretty thick up to I-20. Southbound, heading to Hartsfield, you're doing okay. Just a tap of the brakes. Connector southbound leaving 17th Street past Georgia Tech. Smiley Mark McKay, 95.5 WSB.
Hey, Friday starting at 5 on Atlanta's Morning News, how Clark Howard says you can save money on your prescription meds. Join us on 95.5 WSB.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, every week on the show, we offer folks something we call the Portfolio X-Ray. I was hoping you could walk us through that process and tell us why the information it uncovers is so powerful.
Yeah, so the reason we love doing the Portfolio X-Ray for you is we do that behind the scenes. Everybody's extremely busy. Nobody wants to waste time in traffic. If you call in, we will ask you for some information via the phone. Once you've given us that information, we go to work and we put all the hours in developing the report. And I commit this to you. The Portfolio X-Ray is eye-opening. At least 90+% of the time, we can find 2 or 3 golden nuggets in there that you were not aware of that we can either change in your current portfolio mix for you. It's called a 401k optimizer. Or if we manage the assets for you, we certainly can recommend how to diversify away from some of the troubling points that are exposed during the Portfolio X-Ray. Once we've got that, then we'll have you in for your initial consultation. We will present the Portfolio X-Ray to you and walk you through the high points of it. And that's a document that you get to take with you. It's like getting a financial physical. Mm-hmm. So how many of you avoided going to the doctor for the annual physical last year? You do the same thing with your financial life. You ignore it. You keep pumping money into your 401k. You hope that it's going well. And I can tell you that hope is not a good investment or financial planning strategy. You need to know. So if you want to know, call us.
The Portfolio X-Ray is complimentary. Give Hoffman Financial Group a call to schedule yours today. 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
It is heating up outdoors and summer fun is just getting started. And you know what? I bet it'll get warmer before it gets cooler. And you know the best part about hot weather is walking into a cool, comfortable house. Dave Baker here for Coolray Heating and Cooling, Plumbing and Electrical. Don't let AC problems ruin your summer. Let Coolray tune up your air conditioner now. Ooh, are you thinking about a new, more efficient HVAC system? Coolray is offering up to $2,250 in rebates and free installation with the purchase of a complete home carrier system. And don't forget, Coolray is your one-stop shop when it comes to plumbing and electrical service too. Brightbox Electrical and Mr. Plumber are both Coolray companies, so they've got all your electrical, plumbing, and HVAC needs covered. Ready to stay cool for the summer? Visit Coolray.com to book your appointment today. It's easy. No phone calls, no waiting on hold. Book the time and day that works best for you. Coolray and Carrier. Turn to the experts.
Has your pest control company told you they won't be coming inside anymore and they raised their prices? Mark Aram here for my bug and critter company, Breda Pest Management. They protect the outside and inside of your home. It's the bugs inside you want gone. So if your pest company is doing less and charging more, you need Breda. Get started at BREDAPest.com.
Breda, Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. If you're over 50 and tired of your wireless bill getting higher and higher, there are 4 things to consider. One, how much data are you really using? As we get older, we use less data on our wireless phone, but you're probably still paying for an unlimited plan that was designed for 20-somethings. Two, if you see "Get a phone on us," get your sneakers out and run the other way. No one is giving you a free phone. You are paying for that phone over time with an overpriced rate plan and a long-term commitment. Three, check the fine print on that $15 a month plan. It's probably an intro price that'll double or triple later. You might even have to pay for several months of service up front. Number four, be aware of cable company wireless plans. Most of your usage will be on Wi-Fi instead of 5G, and your calls and battery life could suffer. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get the same fast, reliable nationwide service without the big wireless bill. Our plans start at just $20 a month.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
You've got car trouble, but your mechanic won't open the hood? That's crazy. You've got bugs in your house and your pest control company won't come inside anymore? That's ridiculous. It's the bugs inside your house that you want gone. Scott Slade here from my bug and critter company, Breda Pest Management. They protect the inside and outside of your home. Get started at bredapest.com.
Breda, Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
These were deliberate attacks, acts of that injured officers who were simply doing their job out there to protect the public.
That's the chief of Los Angeles Police, Jim McDonnell, talking about the ongoing protests and the injuries sustained therein. Welcome back to the Mark Arum Show. The immigration protest, all because of the sweeping ICE raids. Apparently, the ICE raids now hitting agricultural facilities. Joining us live from Bloomberg News, covering the story, Michael Hertzer. Michael, good morning. Thanks for your time.
Good morning.
Let's start with this meatpacking plant in Nebraska. What can you tell us about this raid, and was this an unexpected raid?
Yeah, it was unexpected. It was Tuesday. About over 70 people were detained. They arrived at the plant with a warrant and kind of just knocked very tersely on the door and kind of came inside and took some folks away. And now the plant is running, at about a third of its normal staff.
And also,
they say that they kind of were, complying with regulations, and as far as they know, everything was in order. But they were told by the federal agents that they were not in compliance.
Another raid happened in California on a produce farm. Similar situation there.
We don't have as many details about some of those enforcement actions, but there are reports of a couple of farms where fruit workers were detained, as well as one dairy in New Mexico.
Do the employers face any punishment for employing illegal workers? Do we know?
I think that's kind of to be determined. Some of these, they're still waiting to be told, what's going on with the workers and who exactly is not compliant. So that will hopefully be forthcoming soon. But the plant in Nebraska is kind of, up in arms at the moment and not really knowing where things stand.
It might be ignorance on my part, Michael, but I just assumed that ICE would be hands off on anything related to food production, right? With instability on grocery prices and supply chains. So this kind of shocked me that ICE is going after this meatpacking plant and this produce plant.
Well, it's interesting. You say that the president about an hour ago sent out a post on Truth Social, kind of relaying that same sentiment, saying that there's some longtime farm workers that have been taken away and they're almost impossible to replace. And he says, this is not good. We must protect our farmers. So, and changes are coming. So I don't know if that might kind of give the agents a signal to focus their enforcement efforts elsewhere, because these were some of the first raids in agriculture so far, and people have been really waiting to see if this would happen.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Final question for you, Michael. Do we know how many crop workers in the U.S. are undocumented?
It's estimated that, as far as the folks who work in the fields, 850,000 total, about half are undocumented, and there's just a lot of other workers as well that there's not great data on that, as you can imagine.
Yeah, no doubt. Michael Hertzer, Bloomberg News. Michael, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
All right. So I did not see ICE raids at a meatpacking plant in Nebraska or produce farms out in California, but there we have it. Speaking of agriculture and grocery stores, a major national grocery store chain has announced that they are predicting shortages of some products. We'll go in depth with that. Phil Lempert, the supermarket guru, will give us the details and the implications and how it could impact you and I. Again, a major national supermarket chain says, heads up, you could be seeing shortages on the shelf. We'll go in depth next on that story on the Mark Arum Show.
Window Nation customers have been singing our praises for years. With fast, local service and an industry-leading 96% customer satisfaction rating, it's no wonder.
I researched window companies for the last year to see what the average prices were and the quality of work. Window Nation nailed both.
Right now, get 4 windows free with every 4 you buy, plus no interest for 2 years. Hurry, this offer ends soon. Schedule a free estimate now. Call 866-90NATION or visit windownation.com. That's 866-90NATION.
Hey, Mark Arum here for my bug and critter company, Breda Pest Management. I can't tell you how much I love these folks. Protecting the Arum household inside and out, friendly customer service. They get the job done right, and it's guaranteed. Pests, not a problem at the Arum household anymore because Breda is better at beating bugs. Just ask my wife. And you know what? They do it right, protecting the outside and inside of your home. If your current company, by the way, claims to protect your home from pests, shouldn't that include your actual home and not just your yard? It's the bugs inside your house that you want gone. And inside your home is where your current company doesn't go anymore. So if your pest control company is doing less and charging more, you need Breda Pest Management to protect the outside and inside of your home. Breda, they handle bugs and critters.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
For over 25 years, you've counted on All Four Seasons for garage and entry doors. But we also specialize in replacement windows with a lifetime warranty. Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage and Entry Doors. Enhance your home's energy efficiency and curb appeal with a wide range of quality window options, backed by unparalleled service and craftsmanship. From garage doors to entry doors to windows, for every opening of your home, we've got you covered. When trust matters, trust us. All the number 4 seasonsgarages.com.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
Good morning. It's 11 o'clock. I'm Graham Carroll. This news brought to you by the Next Generation Xfinity 10G network. Our top local story is all new at 11 o'clock. The U.S. Supreme Court has ruled unanimously that a family whose Atlanta home was wrongly raided by law enforcement can sue. The 2017 raid involved FBI and SWAT agents serving an arrest warrant for a neighbor accused of gang activity. The family sued in 2019, naming the FBI and individual agents. Such lawsuits are difficult because the federal government is generally immune from being sued, except in limited cases approved by Congress. The High Court was asked to decide if this incident qualifies as one of those exceptions. It will be partly cloudy with some pop-up showers possible today, highs reaching the upper 80s. WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards has Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up. Hundreds are dead in the first ever crash of a Boeing 787. It happened shortly after takeoff in northwest India. The plane carrying over 240 people was bound for London.
This crashed into a residential area just off the runway of the airport, so there's concerns that there are additional people in those buildings that the plane hit. This plane has been flying for 11 years for Air India and had been making multiple flights over the last few days, so had been in heavy use.
Chris Van Cleve reports no Americans were on board. Passengers were mainly from the UK and India. Updating Israel at war, the Pentagon authorizing an evacuation of personnel from Iraq and other parts of the Middle East as the U.S. watches for a potential Israeli strike on Iran.
U.S. Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff is still planning to hold a 6th round of talks with Iran in Oman on Sunday. In the meantime, though, U.S. officials have confirmed that non-essential personnel, including American military families in the Middle East, will be evacuated.
Steve Lindy reports U.S. officials believe Iran could retaliate on certain U.S. sites in the Middle East should that Israeli strike happen. A Morehouse College student who went missing over the weekend is found dead after a car crash in Virginia. The college releasing a statement saying the Morehouse family is grieving the loss of 19-year-old Kyle Coleman. On Sunday, his vehicle was found unoccupied after being involved in a collision. Using drones, police recovered his remains from a small body of water in Tysons, Virginia. It is not yet clear how he died. The city of Roswell is putting some new restrictions on short-term vacation rentals.
Starting January 1st, properties on sites like Airbnb and Vrbo must undergo routine safety inspections similar to commercial buildings. Property owners will also have to register with the Business Registration Office. Roswell Councilwoman Sarah Beeson says it's all about making sure visitors are safe.
We're not trying to get rid of short-term rentals in Roswell. To give you an example of surrounding cities, Alpharetta right now is actually capping their short-term rentals.
Those operating a short-term rental will also be required to have 24/7 contact with the police department for any complaints or emergencies. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
If you like classic cars and hot dogs, Roswell is the place you need to be right now. The annual Hot Rods and Hot Dogs Car Show is happening from now until 2 p.m. at historic Roswell Place. The main attraction is a lineup of vintage Chevys and other favorites from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. They're being displayed courtesy of the Dixie Classic Chevy Club. How long would you need to save to get into a home in Georgia? A new survey from Leave the Key finds that on an average salary, you'd need to work over 7 years to get into a median-priced home here. Hawaii takes the longest, more than 28 years, followed by California, Utah, and Arizona. It is 11:03. The Mark Arum Show continues in less than 2 minutes. Right now, it's time for live team coverage of traffic and weather. And we have Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Hey, good morning, Graham. Still some brake lights out of Alpharetta and Roswell into Sandy Springs. 400 southbound, sluggish from Holcomb Bridge Road, Mansell Road area, trying to get down past Northridge. 285 eastbound's improving, where they were doing a little bit of pothole repair past Riverside Drive, exit 24. And checking on a new, construction slow zone down in Stockbridge, 675 northbound, getting past Highway 138. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy, hot and humid today, high 88. A few hit or miss rain showers and storms through the afternoon, lows tonight in the low 70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with pop-up afternoon thunderstorms, high 86. Saturday, mostly cloudy with scattered rain showers and thunderstorms, highs in the mid-80s.
And right now we have 80 degrees in Stockbridge, 78 degrees in Alpharetta, and it is 78 degrees in Midtown Atlanta at 11:04. More news at 11:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
No, I run this town to be near you.
11:05 on an extremely busy News Day Thursday. Welcome back, friends. Mark Arum and crew with you till noon. In just a couple of minutes, we're going to continue our update on the breaking news. The Air India Flight 171 went down en route to Gatwick Airport. 242 souls on board. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News transportation analyst, going to join us live in just a couple of minutes. Coming up after the 11:35 news, comedian and actress Lisa Ann Walter's going to join us. You know her and love her from Abbott Elementary. She's going to be in town. Right now, though, before the break, we talked about the ICE raids at the meatpacking plant in Nebraska and at the produce farms in California. A big grocery store chain announced there could be shortages. Whole Foods warns of shortages as the supplier United Natural Foods experienced nationwide technology system outage following a cyber attack. The impact on what we might or might not see on the shelves. Joining us live on the Mark Arum Show, the supermarket guru himself, Phil Lempert. Phil, good morning. Thanks for your time.
Good morning. It's my pleasure. Obviously, it's a really bad story for anybody who cares about healthy food, but it's important that we get that information out.
And in all your years of covering supermarkets, I mean, you've obviously covered shortages and runs on certain items and supply chain issues, but a cyber attack causing issues on the shelves. Is that the first time you've covered such a deal?
No, we've seen this before, but not to this scale. Keep in mind that UNFI, services over 30,000 stores. Now, Whole Foods is their biggest customer. We're going to see the biggest impact there. But everything from the mom and pop, little health food store to some of the other small regional chains around the country, this is a big deal.
What kind of products are we talking about from United Natural Foods that we might not see on the shelves?
Well, they specialize in organics. They specialize in just about anything that today's consumer wants when it comes to no additives, no preservatives, healthier, better for you foods. So it ranges, from frozen foods to products that are on the shelf, healthier cereals, healthier pasta, and so on.
Any specific brands, or do you not want to mention like what, if there's a healthy cereal that our listeners love, they get it at Whole Foods or their mom and pop, and they might not see it anymore. Do we have specific brands that might not be available?
They haven't disclosed what brands there are, but clearly it's going to take them a few days to really do this and really get back up to speed. What they've basically done with this cyber attack is shut down the business. And when you look at those kinds of brands that they carry, and they carry probably about 30,000 brands, so 30,000 brands into 30,000 stores.
Wow.
This is going to be a major impact. So the categories, as I said, are healthier foods, better for you foods, organic foods. So those are the ones, regardless of the brand, that we're going to see, not on the shelves. What we will see, are those ultra-processed foods that, are making the headlines every day.
The stuff that I eat will still be on the shelves, is what you're saying, Phil.
Well, hopefully that's not all you eat.
No, majority. Well, no, I mix in a lot of fast food, so I'm covered there. Historically, when a corporation's hit by a cyber attack, they shy away from sharing details about the attack, what's impacted. But obviously, I mean, the cereals, I would imagine, have been produced. So the cyber attack impacting their shipping and distribution arm of the company. Do we have any details on that?
We don't, but what we do know is you're 1,000% correct. I mean, the stuff is sitting in their warehouses. It's not as if they're not accepting product. It's sitting there. They just can't get it to their retail customers. And, keep in mind that today's supermarkets, they get deliveries every day. It's not as, in our parents' generation where a supermarket got a delivery, once a week. There are trucks there every single day. It's called just-in-time delivery. So the whole idea here was that, if you go in and buy a box of cereal, immediately another box appears. So that's what just-in-time is all about. And what we're seeing is that we're not able to replenish that supply. That's why we're seeing shortages.
Unbelievable. And a ton of Whole Foods here in the metro Atlanta area. Phil Lempert, great insight. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
There you go. All right. So, Deborah, I'm in the clear. The shortage is only impacting healthy and organic foods. Maya might be in trouble.
I was going to say Maya's in trouble.
Yeah, but I'll be fine. All right. On to more serious news. Continue our team coverage of the tragic Air India flight crash this morning or this afternoon local time. Joining us from CBS News, transportation analyst Chris Van Cleve. Chris, good morning. Thanks for jumping on this big breaking story.
No problem. Good to be with you.
I got to ask a question. We had travel expert Peter Greenberg on earlier in the show just talking about the Boeing 787, the Dreamliner, and what that all entails. And I missed a couple of messages on social media from pilots saying that they noticed in the video that has been released that the flaps were not down on the aircraft, and might that have led to the tragedy we saw? Any insight on what the flaps were doing or not doing?
Well, I mean, I've seen the same video that the pilots that have been messaging you have, and I think certainly one of the things investigators are going to very quickly want to understand once they have recovered the wings of the airplane and the cockpit voice and data recorders, in what position were the flaps? Were they not in the right place? Did something else happen during takeoff that perhaps the pilots lost situational awareness, and so either didn't move flaps when they should have, or put the flaps up and instead of putting the gear up, did something like that happen? It appears there was a survivor of this airplane crash. If that pans out to be true,
wow,
that person will also have a firsthand account that may help. Like one of the questions certainly you'll want to look into is, did something happen during takeoff? Did the plane lose an engine? Did it ingest something? Now, this airplane is very advanced. It has a system that should automatically compensate for the loss of an engine. But if there was some kind of an emergency and that took the focus of the pilots, did a step get missed in the process of taking off? These are all things that investigators are going to seek to understand. Right now we're all speculating, but there are certainly some questions coming out of the videos we have seen about sort of the flaps and the takeoff procedure that happened there.
Speaking of the videos, Chris, did anything else stand out to you? I mean, this is obviously a horrible situation, and the fact that it happened so shortly after takeoff makes it seem an oddity as well.
Yeah, certainly there are a lot of unanswered questions here. I think what you see is this aircraft struggling and ultimately failing to maintain sufficient lift to continue climbing. It seems to just sort of drop slowly out of the sky. That is certainly unusual at takeoff, when in theory those engines should be at near 100% thrust. So were the engines working properly will be something that investigators want to understand.
Saw earlier reporting, Steve, that there was a Mayday call from the cockpit to air traffic control shortly after takeoff. So just from that bit of nugget, can we assume that the pilot or pilots knew that something was definitely amiss?
It would seem to indicate that the pilots were aware something was wrong. This was a very short flight. It looks like the plane was in the air for approximately a minute. So not a lot of time for the pilots to respond to an emergency. So it will be one of those things that you hope that the cockpit voice and data recorder can really shed some light as to mechanically what was going on in that airplane. The voice recorder is important not only because you hear what the pilots are talking about, but if there was, say, a loud bang or something indicative of a bird strike, you would hear that presumably on the voice recorder. That can really help investigators as well, in addition to the data recorder, which is recording 1,000 pieces of information about how that airplane is performing. It will give investigators a much better understanding of how this airplane was functioning from the minute they powered it on until disaster struck.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Chris. So the crash obviously happened in India on a flight that was heading to England. But historically, in foreign plane crashes, sometimes the NTSB here in the States is called in to help assist in the investigation. Do you think that might be on the table?
The NTSB will be assisting in this investigation because the airplane was built in the United States. So that makes the NTSB, as well as the airplane manufacturer Boeing, parties to the investigation. The NTSB is preparing a team of investigators that will aid in this investigation. They will not lead it. The Indian equivalent of the NTSB will be the lead agency, but expect the FAA to contribute people to that delegation, as well as the NTSB. Boeing will likely have people that help with this investigation. The engine makers will also be involved. So, yes, there will be a U.S. presence in this investigation.
The headline is it's another Boeing craft, but this 787 Dreamliner, this is the first incident that we've had reported with that type of aircraft. That being said, is there any chance domestically that we might eventually see, hey, we're going to just put a halt to all 787 Dreamliners flying here in the United States till we figure out what happened?
I think that's probably getting ahead of ourselves
Okay.
here. This airplane involved is an 11-year-old airplane, so it is not indicative of like a design or a manufacturing failure, because you would think that would show up far sooner than 11 years down the line after the plane had gone through heavy checks where they essentially almost take it back to the studs in a way to look at the aircraft. So. You have nearly 1,200 of these airplanes flying around the world that have not shown a pattern of problems in well over a decade. So,
Gotcha.
There was an issue with the plane's batteries 13 years ago. That was resolved And that was, that was an example of a manufacturing issue. It showed up very soon after the planes started being delivered. It was fixed relatively quickly, and has not been an issue since. So I think it is premature to speculate about a wider problem. But in the next few days, we may have a much better understanding if this was isolated to this aircraft, which, if I had to guess, I would say it probably is specific to something that's a specific scenario that happened here. Or if it's something wider, then, the world will certainly be watching.
Just wanted to assuage any concerns the listeners might have if a very busy travel weekend here at the world's busiest airport. So no possibility of that. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News. Chris, thanks for jumping on with the breaking news.
Sure thing.
There you go. Chris Van Cleve. Update. Deborah, did you hear what he just said? That there's one survivor?
One, yeah.
That's unbelievable. So as soon as he said that, I went to the Google machine to try to figure out. And yeah, so Ahmedabad police have said there is at least one survivor from the flight. According to media reports, the sole survivor of the crash was 40-year-old Vishwash Kumar Ramesh, a British Indian who lives in London and was in Ahmedabad visiting family. He said he lived in London for the past 20 years and had traveled to India with his brother, who was also on the plane. A quote from the survivor: 30 seconds after takeoff, there was a loud noise and the plane crashed. It all happened so quickly. He said impact injuries, including bruising on his chest, eyes, and feet, but otherwise was lucid and conscious. What? Holy cow. Yeah. That truly is a miracle if that is true. One survivor. Again, there were 242 people on board. But as Chris Van Cleve mentioned, that survivor could give some insight onto what exactly happened. Wow. All right, I'm going to investigate a little further on that one survivor. We'll get updates as warranted. But first, we've been following delays all show long. The biggest backups right now, Alex Williams.
Yeah, it's going to have to be out of Roswell into Sandy Springs, where the past few days we've been dealing with some rolling left lane construction, 400 southbound below Northridge, exit 6. That's why you're a little slow back to Holcomb Bridge Road there in Roswell. New crash right next to Truist Park, 75 southbound at I-285 in Cobb, left lane blocked there, so use caution making your way toward Northwest Atlanta. And now right lane construction through Stockbridge, 675 northbound, just past Highway 138. Exit 1, slow in the ride as you leave that 75 split. Traffic brought to you by Purple Mattress. Purple mattresses and pillows are up to 75% off for a limited time. Stop by their showroom at the outlet shops at Atlanta this weekend for amazing deals. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
When news breaks,
protesters again outside of the Center for Disease Control and Prevention's front gate.
We've got it covered.
Federal agents seizing enough fentanyl to kill 48 million Americans during raids on 3 properties.
Tune in often for the latest.
Arrests at a large immigration protest in Brookhaven.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's breaking news station.
Bugs bugging you? Better call Breda Pest Management. They handle bugs and critters. And Breda is proud to sponsor Scott Slade, Georgia, every Thursday on Atlanta's Morning News.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
Hey, if you got weekend plans, make sure your home is ready for them. I called Wise Guys Pro Wash and boom, the house, driveway, and patio were spotless. They even cleaned the roof. I didn't even have to be home. They are truly professionals using the top equipment in the industry, and their soft washing kept my home safe and damage-free, and the results, incredible. Wise Guys has more than 2,000 5-star reviews, and I know why now. So mention me, Chris Chandler, for $70 off your next service. Book today at wiseguysprowash.com.
I'm Brian Parks, head of commercial banking in Atlanta for Ameris Bank. I've been in banking for over 30 years, and my team and I know that businesses have the best results when they work with local bankers who know the Atlanta market. Bankers who will work to understand your business operations and bring good ideas to the table. At Ameris Bank, we do that. I invite you to reach out so we can start a conversation. Visit amerisbank.com/yourbusiness or a local branch near you. Ameris Bank, fiercely yours, member FDIC.
Attention men, are you suffering from ED or PE? Here's an important message from Choice Men's Health.
I'm Dr. Katz, and I'm the Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Are you performing the way you want to in the bedroom? If the answer is no, and you've tried Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra and were disappointed, then you need to come see us immediately. If you don't see results on the first visit, then there's no charge. Many of our patients have medical conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and prostate problems. I'm happy to say that we have 98% success rate with all our patients. problems. Our customized solutions will allow you to perform within 10 minutes and last an hour and even longer. You can regain your love life and tackle your ED and PE problems. Guys, your partner will never complain again. Our clinic has the most affordable prices, so if you visit other clinics and you're not completely satisfied, then you need to call Choice Men's Health.
Regain your love life regardless of your age or medical history. Choice Men's Health guarantees results on your first visit or you pay nothing. Call now. 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170.
Getting engaged? At Shane Company, we'll help you find the perfect diamond. This is your engagement ring, aka only your life's most important piece of jewelry. No need to worry. As gemstone experts since 1929, we handpick only the most beautiful natural and lab-grown diamonds cut to our high standards in every price range. We have diamonds in all shapes and sizes, ready to compare side by side right here in our store. Come see for yourself at Shanco.com or at your local store. No appointment necessary. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
Is your old AC unit ready for another sweltering Atlanta summer? Probably not. Hey, good news. Mark Aaron back from my friends at Reliable. Great new deal going on right now, guys. Any size AC, just $69.99 a month, 0 down, low monthly payments, and next day installation guaranteed, or they pay you $500. Any AC, just $69.99 a month. Book an appointment for a convenient time right on their website at reliableair.com and click on the schedule service button or call or text 770-594-9969.
These days, the Atlanta real estate market is just like Atlanta weather, unpredictable. Hi, I'm Deborah Morton, host of Inside Georgia Real Estate here on WSB every Saturday at 1 p.m. If there was ever a time to work with a true real estate expert, now is that time. In all my years in residential real estate, this is the most change and volatility I've seen. A misstep could cost thousands. This is when experience matters. My team and I are passionate about providing clarity to our clients through our expertise in real estate. So, if you're thinking of buying or selling a home, we can give you that clarity so you can make great choices and the best decisions. And yes, I host Inside Georgia Real Estate here on WSB, but you don't have to wait until Saturday for help. Go to InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com and ask me anything. My team and I are here for you. Go to InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com for clarity in buying or selling your home.
Hi, it's Mark Beckham with Atlanta Ramjack. Bigger isn't always better. Don't let the big companies fool you. Atlanta Ramjack is the leader in foundation repair. Whether it's residential or commercial, Ramjack is the most reliable, technically capable company in the business. Our staff has the most experience in solving difficult foundation problems. No one can match our expertise in foundation repair. Ramjack fixes the issues other companies can't. Go to AtlantaRamjack.com to set up your free estimate.
If you've ever organized your closet only to have it look like a bomb went off in there 1 month later, then it's time to call Artisan Custom Closets. Dave Baker here with a custom spacious closet from Artisan. You'll never have to deal with all that clutter again. ArtisanCustomClosets.com.
My meeting with Chairman Kim was honest, direct, and productive.
Time flies. That was 7 years ago. Today, we were talking about on the Mark Arum Show, President Trump, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un met in Singapore, signed a joint statement agreeing to work toward the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. We haven't heard much about that relationship anymore, Deborah, between the president and the North Korean leader. The chairman, is that what he called him? The chairman?
Is that what he says, chairman?
My meeting with Chairman Kim was...
Chairman Kim. Like he's a chairman of the board, Kim. A lot of people will say that the chairman looks like a penguin. Penguins in the news, Deborah, and not good news for the infamous, I believe they're infamous, emperor penguins.
Yeah, the number of emperor penguins in Antarctica, they're declining faster than researchers have thought. The population has decreased by 22% in the past 20 years here. And researchers, of course, are blaming climate change. They say the sea ice that they breed on is melting, so they have less places to breed. And the rate at which they're declining, that's what's shocking to them.
22% drop in the... Are those the penguins from March of the Penguins?
Yes.
What about the penguins from Happy Feet?
They're still okay.
Yeah, those ones are fine.
Yeah, they're animated. Okay. The animated penguins are not impacted by it. That stinks. Great exhibit. One of the most popular exhibits, by the way, at the world-famous Georgia Aquarium is the penguin exhibit. Kids absolutely love the penguins.
It's just the way they run around and they're having fun all the time.
And they have that little thing you could stick your head up into.
Yep.
Anyway, all right, keep us posted on the decline in population of the emperor penguins. All right, we got news, weather, and traffic straight ahead. When we come back, more news. We're going to recheck, see if there was a survivor in that India plane crash. Coming up soon, President Trump's going to sign resolutions limiting cars' gas-powered car ban. California's gas-powered car ban. That's a lot to say. But most importantly, you know or love her from Abbott Elementary, comedian, actor Lisa Ann Walter. She joins us live next on The Mark Arum Show.
Homeowners, are your windows and doors sticking, or you notice cracks in the drywall? You might have a big problem. Serious issues need the serious experts at Engineered Solutions of Georgia. Go to ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
At Kroger, we've lowered prices on over 1,000 items across our stores so you can save even more. Whether you're shopping in-store or online at Kroger, we've lowered prices on thousands of the items your family wants and needs. And with lower prices, your dollar goes further every time you shop with us. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Save big on eggs. Right now, 18-count cartons of large grade A Kroger brand eggs are just $3.49 each with your digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hey, a Shelley Winter, sleep apnea could be silently wrecking your health. Untreated, it spikes your risk of heart disease, strokes, and diabetes. Are you snoring loudly? Waking up exhausted? Your body's sounding the alarm. Don't ignore it. Are you frustrated with a CPAP? Those bulky masks and noisy tubes aren't for everyone. Palmetto Sleep has a better answer. Custom oral appliances, quiet, comfortable, and perfect for mild to moderate sleep apnea. Sleep better, feel better. No sleep lab needed. Get an at-home sleep test in your own bed, often covered by Medicare or your company plans. Save your health. Call Palmetto Sleep now at 770-230-0222. That's 770-230-0222. That's 770-230-0222. Palmetto Sleep, your health deserves better. Call 770-230-0222. That's the phone number. Get a good night's sleep now. Call Palmetto Sleep.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Styling. Or possibility number 24, the latest software. Upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
And 62225. New customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
Good morning. It's 11:30. I'm Graham Carroll. This news brought to you by Rocco's European Garage. Our top local story, a unanimous Supreme Court ruling says a family whose Atlanta home was wrongly raided by law enforcement can in fact sue. In 2017, FBI and SWAT agents broke into the home of Trina Martin while serving a warrant for a neighbor who was accused of gang activity. The family sued the FBI and individual agents in 2019. The case centered on whether federal officers can be held accountable for wrong house raids, a term used when law enforcement enters the wrong property by mistake. The federal government typically is immune from such lawsuits, except in limited cases. The court ruled this case can proceed, allowing the family to seek accountability. A 19-year-old Dalton teen arrested by ICE following a wrongful traffic stop has testified before a Senate Judiciary Committee.
It enlightened people from my community that this isn't an immigration problem, it's a human rights problem.
Jimena Arias Cristobal was pulled over when a Dalton police officer mistook her vehicle for another that made an illegal turn. She says when she was locked up, she learned there were many others who were also picked up by ICE.
A lot of them walking on the side of the street, and a lot of them went to their court date and got ripped away there. So there's a lot of people being taken by ICE.
The officer who pulled her over has resigned. Cristobal is hoping to become a U.S. citizen now. Roswell is tightening its restrictions on short-term rentals. A city council vote on the matter was unanimous, including the support of Councilwoman Sarah Beeson.
This is really to focus on the safety of people who are coming to visit us in Roswell. Not only the safety of the homeowners themselves, the safety of the neighbors and the surrounding community, but also the safety of the tenants who are staying in these short-term rentals.
And this means beginning next year, homes used as short-term rentals will be required to go through the same occupational safety inspections that commercial operations buildings undergo. At least 240 people are feared dead in northwest India after a passenger plane crashes shortly after takeoff. The Air India jet was bound for London when there was some sort of malfunction.
This was not a nosedive. We've seen videos circulating on social media showing it almost looks like it's landing. It's coming down at roughly 500 feet per second on a glide scope. The landing gear was still down. This signifies some sort of loss of power. So we now know that the captain did make some sort of a mayday call.
Transportation correspondent Sam Sweeney reports no Americans were on board. It is the first ever crash involving a Boeing 787 Dreamliner. A couple of men armed with a machete are wanted in a robbery of the Dollar General in Lawrenceville, Swanee Road. Corporal Juan Madiedo with the Gwinnett County Police tells WSB.
So they waited for the store to be empty of patrons and customers and then committed a violent assault, basically. They went into the store, one of them armed with a machete. They held two of the employees down, then forced one of them to open the safe.
The suspects took off with empty deposit bags and the victim's cell phones. Gwinnett police asking for the public's help in finding the two men. Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers. There may be a cash reward for their capture. Pictures of the suspects are now posted on our website. It is 11:33, live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams is in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Hey, Graham, watching a few brake lights leaving the 85-400 merge. Hero escorting a stall off to the right shoulder, 85 southbound just below Georgia 400. Still got that left lane crash near Truist Park, 75 southbound at I-285, exit 259 there in Cobb County, sluggish back through Marietta. And the right lane construction continues in Stockbridge, 675 northbound, right around Highway 138, exit number 1. So a little bit of a slow zone as you make the way up toward Ellenwood, but no need for an alternate there. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. Partly cloudy, hot and humid today, high 88. A few pop-up storms through the afternoon, lows tonight in the low 70s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with pop-up afternoon storms, high 86. Mostly cloudy on Saturday with widespread rain showers and thunderstorms, high 85.
Right now, 78 degrees in Beaufort, 80 degrees in Union City, and 79 in Midtown Atlanta at 11:34. More news at noon. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Graham Carroll, 95.5 WSB.
Everyone has an opinion.
We have become an idiotic nation that doesn't know how to even debate anything, so it doesn't surprise
Eric Von
me.
Hessler has an opinion.
You will still age.
And some advice.
Start doing things when you're younger. Drink a lot of water.
Eric Von Hessler, today at 3.
And you will still die.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Still to come, the latest on the horrific crash in India. Deborah's got tickets to see the Dave Matthews Bands, but actor-comedian Lisa Ann Walter joins us live next on the Mark Arum Show.
Paid once, but twice. Sounds nice, right? That's exactly what Orchard does. Hey, it's Eric Von Hessler, and I'm telling you, this is different. Orchard gives you cash up front from your current home, so you can go ahead and buy your next one now. No stress, no where are we going to live in the meantime drama. And while you're moving in, getting cozy, arguing over where the couch goes, Orchard is busy getting your old place ready to sell. They handle the cleanup, the fix-ups, the showings, even upgrades that can raise the price. And here's the kicker. When it sells for more, which happens a lot, you get that extra money too. So yeah, first payday comes when you buy, second one comes when your old place sells. Not bad, right? Want to check it out? Just head to Orchard.com. That's Orchard.com and get a free home valuation. No pressure, just a smarter, easier way to move. That's Orchard.
Attention job seekers, ready to take your career to the next level? Join us at the Yancey Bros Austell campus near Six Flags for an exciting hiring event Saturday, June 14th from 8 a.m. to noon. We are looking for skilled technicians and talented individuals for various roles. We have opportunities for everyone, including fantastic benefits starting on your first day, June 14th from 8 a.m. to noon. Take your first step towards a brighter future with Yancey Bros. Visit yanceybros.com/hiring event for more details. details.
Home improvement projects can be a stressful guessing game. Trust the Plus. Painting Plus, the highest level of communication. The Plus means siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and of course, painting.
Hi, I'm Charlie, owner of Painting Plus and the Plus family of businesses. We'll make you comfortable and keep you informed with every step of your project.
If your home's exterior has it, the Plus can improve it. Painting Plus, siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and more. Trust the Plus. PaintingPlus.com.
Cancer upends your life. We're doing all we can to change that. At Winship Cancer Institute of Emory University, we're reimagining the care experience to ease the burden of cancer. With experts in your cancer and the research, trials, and treatments you can only get here. All so you can focus on what matters most, the best chance of living a full life. Winship Cancer Institute of Emory University. Cancer care designed around you and your life. EmoryHealthcare.org/Winship.
Have you ever had a bad experience getting repair work done on your European car? You need to get to know Wolf Pen Auto Repair in Roswell for honest estimates with honest pricing by factory certified techs for work on your Porsche, Mercedes-Benz, Audi, or BMW. Search Wolf Pen Auto Repair and see the difference.
He packed in the animals 2 by 2, ox, a camel, and a kangaroo.
11:37 on a really busy Newsday Thursday. Welcome back, everyone. Mark Aram and crew with you till noon. Continuously updating the tragic Air India flight. Getting word, though, there is at least one survivor, which is remarkable. If you've seen the video, we'll continue to monitor that story throughout the day here on 95.5 WSB. The amazingly talented Lisa Ann Walter joining us in just a second. But first, we have some tickets to give away today, Deborah.
Yeah, tickets to see Dave Matthews Band at Ameris Bank Amphitheater on June 25th.
All right, going to take it easy on Carlin. Make it easy. Seventh caller, Carlin. Seventh caller to 404-872-0750. Seventh caller to 404-872-0750 wins a pair of tickets to see the Dave Matthews Band, June 25th at Ameris Bank Amphitheater. Now joining us live on the show. So excited. She's coming to town this weekend at the Helium Comedy Club. Lisa Ann Walter. Should I call you Lisa?
Hey.
Lisa Ann? What do you prefer? Miss Walter?
No. Oh, yeah. Call me Miss Walter like I'm Diana Ross. I'm fine with Lisa. Usually when I hear Lisa Ann, I look around and think I'm in trouble. Like, what did I do wrong?
Was the Ann part of the Actors Guild where there was already a Lisa Walter? So you had
No. You know what? My when I was born, my dad wanted to call me. Get ready for this. Anna Liesel, like I'm one of the Von Trapps. Right? So
mom talked him out of that.
Farewell, Peter saying goodnight. Yeah, she was a teacher. My mother was a teacher, and it was very similar to the Melissa story on Abbott. She's a Sicilian chick teaching public school in downtown D.C., and she said she's going to go through her entire school life spelling her name. No, flip it around. Lisa Ann, that's good enough. But you know what? I got to tell you, back when we were born in my generation, old people, there was like 6 names. There was only my names were like Monique, Tanya, Debbie, Karen, Elaine, and Lisa. That was it. There might be a Lori thrown in there every once in a while.
I'm from the Jennifer generation. There were 9 Jennifers in my class.
Yeah, that's my little sister, Jennifer. And then I'm an idiot because I named my oldest son Jordan because I went up to New York to be an actor, right? I went to school to be an actor. I went up there. I was too afraid to audition. Turns out I got pregnant right out of college. So there was something I knew how to do well.
Nice.
And thank you. Very good. I'm very good at it. 4 kids. Busiest uterus in Los Angeles.
Nice.
So anyway, I have him. And I named him because I went to go visit my then boyfriend, became my husband, up at this, he was doing children's theater up in Maine. And we stayed at a place called the Jordan House Inn. And I talk about it in the act a little bit, so you get the fuller story there. But I just knew that I was pregnant, so I said to him, what do you think about Jordan for a baby's name? And he goes, I like that. And 2 weeks later, I was like, guess what?
It's Jordan. What year was that, if you don't mind me asking?
It was 87, and then it turns out that everybody in the world named their kids, boys and girls.
Michael Jordan.
Everybody named their kid Jordan. Yeah, that's why.
There you
go.
But
I didn't know that. I named him after stupid, bed and breakfast near Canada.
You could have named him Lobster Roll. That would have been an apropos name since you were in Maine.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I could have. And that would have been different.
Lisa Ann Walter at Helium this weekend. Let me make sure I get the times right. 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday. Atlanta.heliumcomedy.com to purchase your tickets. You brought up Abbott Elementary. If you don't mind, I want to talk about that for a second because my wife's a teacher. And we always talk
God
about
bless her.
when the Braves won the World Series, it was like Freddie Freeman could walk into any bar and restaurant in Atlanta and he wouldn't have to pay for a drink. You literally could walk into any school in the country right now, and you wouldn't have to buy.
And get my verbs conjugated.
Like
I could go.
You must be. I mean, the show is amazing, but educators love the show. You must be so popular with teachers and administrators now.
We are, and here's the thing. First of all, I said this to Quinta when we were. That's the star of the show. For those of you who haven't watched Abbott. And if you haven't, what are you doing with your life? Are you the enemy of joy? I've done things in my career that I haven't even told my family, and then they yell at me. And I'm like, I've got liver cancer on that show. You don't need to see it. But this one, I tell people, like out in the world, oh, you're on that show. Oh, I haven't watched it yet. And I'm like, you really should watch it. It's funny. Like, it makes me laugh, and I'm there shooting it.
Yeah.
Because stuff goes on that I didn't see happen. It's like behind me when they're shooting. I don't know what craziness, Janelle James playing Ava is doing. But anyway, so I said to Quinta on the week that we were shooting the pilot, if only teachers watch us, this is a monster hit.
Yeah, exactly.
But it turns out like, even if you're not a teacher, and we are so thrilled that teachers feel seen because of the show, like they're whole, complete human beings that, by the way, deserve much better pay. Can I just throw that in?
I agree. I absolutely agree. How did you get cast in that?
Well, I mean, I read the script. They sent it to me. I guess I was on a list. Quinta was a fan of mine from not The Parent Trap, which a lot of people remember me from playing the nanny in The Parent Trap, but she actually liked Bruce Almighty. And so she put me on the list, not knowing that I am Sicilian, and that my mother was a teacher in public schools in D.C., that I have a connection to it as well. But a lot of times when I read these scripts, I know all the other actresses that they're going to have going out for it. And I kind of talk myself out of it. Like, you sit there and go, they'll probably hire this person. I read the script and I said, there's nobody better for this than me.
That's
this is mine.
great.
I'm going to go get it. And I did. And that's a lesson, too, because I ain't no spring chicken there. You never know when your time's going to come. And Cheryl Lee and I have a very similar trajectory in the industry that we both, Cheryl Lee Ralph, who plays Barbara Howard, plays my best friend on the show. We sat down on the first day shooting the pilot, started talking about being single moms, raising our kids in Los Angeles and how expensive it was and our little tricks. Like, I'm like, yeah, I go to the back of the store immediately for that, day old bread rack. I still have to talk myself out of that. Can I just tell you that I walk into a store and I'm like, oh, I don't have to go to the back of the store and shop the sales racks first. I still do it though.
Yeah,
I can't help it. I gotta get that deal.
It's a great habit to have. So yeah, the stand-up.
Cheryl's like that too.
The stand-up career is amazing. I'm assuming at some point you had an improv background because I remember you on Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is basically an entirely improv show.
It is, and I made what's his name? I can't remember.
Larry.
The star of the show, Larry David. I made Larry break. That is my claim to fame on Curb. That I did an episode. I was supposed to. They had me in a bunch of times to play the Susie Essman role, Jeff Garland's wife. And I knew Jeff from stand-up from New York, and I just couldn't be mean to him like that. Like I couldn't call him a fat effer. I just couldn't. Like it hurt my heart. So I didn't get that job, which is good. She's much better for it. But they had me come in season 1 to play this nurse that I think they thought was going to be like a sexy nurse. And I was 4.5 months pregnant with my twins. So I was less sexy than they thought it was going to be. I was just kind of a jerk to him, which he deserves because his character is a jerk.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think he was signing in on the, at the reception desk with a hurt finger. And when I read it to call his name, I just read what it looked like, which was Lurie Dove. I was like Lurie Dobbs, and he stood up to like answer me, and he just broke. He cracked up, and they told me afterwards that's one of the only times he's ever broken while doing the show. So I felt really good about that.
Yeah, that's like a bucket list item.
I just always been funny. It's not so much, when I was coming up, they didn't have improv classes all over the place. I wanted to go and take classes at Second City TV or Second City, because Second City TV was one of my favorite shows. But I wasn't going to move to Chicago. So, no, I really just did stand up, and I was funny with my friends.
Well, you're funny
you
everywhere.
learn how to be quick.
You're funny everywhere.
Thank you.
And you're going to be funny in Atlanta this weekend. Helium Comedy Club. 2 shows on Friday, 7 and 9:15 p.m. 2 shows on Saturday, 6 p.m. to 8 and 8:30 p.m. Tickets online at atlanta.heliumcomedy.com. Amazing career, Lisa Ann. I love that you took the time out to join us. Folks, are you on social media at all? Folks want to follow you? Or
I sure am. Lisa, Lisa, and ANN, much easier than Anna Liesel. Last name Walter, WALTER. No S on that. I'm just one person, even though I could lose a few pounds.
No,
so come and find me and follow me, and then you can tell me where I need to go in besides Mary Mac Tea Room and get some good grub in Atlanta. I love to hear from the people.
I'm your food guy. I got you covered.
Oh, good.
All right. Thank you, Lisa Ann. Fantastic stuff. Lisa Ann Walter, Helium in Alpharetta this weekend. Fantastic stuff. All right, quick break. When we come back, the latest on the tragic Air India flight. But first, check in the Thursday mid-morning drive around town live with the latest. Alex Williams.
Still waiting for this left lane crash to clear near Truist Park, 75 southbound and 285 exit 259. Tow truck on scene loading up the car, so that's the good news. Now if you're heading northbound up into Kennesaw, stalled tractor trailer in the left lane, 75 northbound, Barrett Parkway exit 269. And still seeing some brake lights into Sandy Springs on 400 southbound out of Roswell, passing the Chattahoochee River, getting past that left lane construction zone below Northridge, exit number 6. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
If it's happening on the streets of Atlanta.
After suspect refuses to exit home on Summer Chase Drive.
If it's happening on the roads leading to Atlanta.
Looks to be a tanker truck crashed into the median on the JamCam.
95.5 WSB has you covered.
The major culprits are squeezing household budgets for auto insurance, gasoline, and utilities.
Your 24/7 news source. Tune in throughout the day to stay up to date.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's breaking news station.
This is Scott Slade, and nothing takes the place of time when it comes to spotting problems with your health, especially cancer. The earlier, the better. That's where virtual imaging comes in. Virtual imaging's LDCT body scan can be invaluable, giving you more time for you and your loved ones to take charge of your health. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. Due to overwhelming demand for a limited time, their $995 core body scan offer has been extended. It's a $2,495 value. Early detection saves lives, and now it's more affordable than ever. Virtual Imaging has gotten such great response to this offer that they've opened up more times in both offices, but appointments will fill up fast, so don't wait. Some minimum requirements may apply. Early detection is your best protection. To schedule your virtual imaging $995 core body scan, call 770-678-SCAN. That's 770-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
It's Jeff Jr. from Trajan Wealth, and I've got something important to talk to you about, your 401k. If you have changed jobs, there are 2 very important considerations. You don't want to leave your 401k behind, and you don't want to roll it over into your new company plan without consulting Trajan Wealth first. 401ks will often have limited investments or age-based options. Since companies have to make choices to suit all employees, they may not be suited to you, which could cost you fees and money. When you roll over your 401k into an IRA, you not only keep your money growing tax deferred, but you also gain access to a world of investment options specifically designed for you. Trajan Wealth and our fiduciary advisors have helped thousands, and we can do the same for you. Call 404-390-4000. That's 404-390-4000.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Styling. Or possibility number 24, the latest software. Upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
And 62225. New customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
Hey, it's Shelley Winter. Sleep apnea could be silently wrecking your health. Untreated, it spikes your risk of heart disease, strokes, and diabetes. Are you snoring loudly? Waking up exhausted? Your body's sounding the alarm. Don't ignore it. Are you frustrated with a CPAP? Those bulky masks and noisy tubes aren't for everyone. Palmetto Sleep has a better answer. Custom oral appliances. Quiet, comfortable, and perfect for mild to moderate sleep apnea. Sleep better, feel better. No sleep lab needed. Get an at-home sleep test in your own bed, often covered by Medicare or your company plans. Save your health. Call Palmetto Sleep now at 770-230-0222. That's 770-230-0222. That's 770-230-0222. Palmetto Sleep, your health deserves better. Call 770-230-0222. That's the phone number. Get a good night's sleep now. Call Palmetto Sleep.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. By wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers right away. If you're testing your blood sugar 4 or more times per day, injecting insulin 3 or more times per day, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetic Health Hotline today and learn about the latest CGM technology. A CGM can immediately reduce pain. It's accurate, easy to use, and helps you make better diabetes treatment decisions. And if you have Medicare, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Plus, get free shipping, and we'll bill your insurance company for you. Call now to receive your new continuous glucose monitor at little or no out-of-pocket cost.
Paid for by U.S. Medical Supply.
Call 800-611-6638. That's 800-611-6638. Again, 800-611-6638. That's 800-611-6638.
He's to midfield. He's going to go all the way. 40, 30, down to the 20, down to the 10, 5.
That's Marv Albert,
Pittsburgh.
sportscaster extraordinaire. Happy birthday, Marv. Turns 84 years old today. Holy smokes. I grew up with Marv Albert. 84 years old. Happy birthday to Marv Albert. Yeah, I won't even bring that up. Google Marv Albert hotel room. On a non-work computer. Google that and see what's coming up. Updating the Air India flight crash. Again, reports of at least one survivor, which is miraculous. Air India's owner, Tata Group, TATA, has already come out on X and said that they will give $116,868 to the families of each person who lost their life in that plane crash. That seems a little inappropriate. Like they're still doing the recovery, right? Like it's not. They should just say, "Hey, we've got your back." I don't think you need to put out an exact monetary amount, right, on the amount of how much they're going to get.
Yeah, I feel like saying, "Hey, we'll take care of it." Should be enough.
Yeah, it was. So it's 1 crore is what they're going to provide, and on the tweet, which translates to $116,000+ But pump the brakes on that. Just say we're going to take care of you. You don't need to do that. One more question for Vinny. He's never seen Raiders of the Lost Ark. Have you ever seen A League of Their Own? A League of Their Own baseball movie.
No.
Oh my goodness.
I seen National Treasure. Does that compare to Raiders?
Stop. Just stop. A trailblazer in women's baseball has died. She was in that league, the League of Their Own.
Betsy Jochum was the last surviving member of the 1940s Women's Baseball League that inspired the film A League of Their Own.
There's no crying. There's no crying in baseball.
Sockham Jochum, as she was called, played the outfield, earning $50 a week for the South Bend Blue Sox. In 1944, she won the 4-team league's batting title, hitting .296. And she stole a stunning 127 bases, including 7 in one game. After baseball, she went on to become a physical education teacher. Betsy Jochum was 104 years old. Steve Kathan, CBS News.
104, the last surviving member of that all-women's professional baseball league during World War II. Rest in peace. One of the greatest movies and baseball movies of all time, A League of Their Own. Much better than The Sandlot, by the way.
Vinny's fact of the day. I knew you'd get like.
Love it. All right, what you got, Vin?
All right, it's National Jerky Day. Day to celebrate the popular snack food made from dried, seasoned meat. The first instance of beef jerky came from Native Americans when they were drying strips of meat in the sun as early as 1521. Popularity continued to grow during the 1800s.
Wow, Jerky Day.
Jerky Day.
I don't I don't buy it often, but sometimes I'll get a craving for some jerky, and I'll go out there and.
I love some jerky. I'm not gonna lie.
Now I know what to get you for Christmas. Jerky. All right, good job, Vin. Let's get some stars of the show, and then I'm on vacation, folks.
And now, are you guys ready for the Mark?
Oh, by the way, congrats to Kevin. He won a pair of tickets to see Dave Matthews Band June 25th at Marist Bank Amphitheater. Carlin, first time ever on the phones today. Good job, buddy. You get a star of the show. Alex Williams, Deborah, did a detour on his way to work, stopped at Chick-fil-A for us, so little guy gets a star of the show. Vinny, great job filling in for Longoria. Even made a new sounder for Vinny's Fact of the Day. Good job. Deborah, as always, phenomenal. A lot of guests today. We had Kelly Meyer in D.C. from News Nation. We had Karen Travers at the White House from ABC. Peter Greenberg, travel expert, and Chris Van Cleve joined us, updating the breaking news of that Air India flight. Alexander Tin on the CDC story. Michael Hertzberg from Bloomberg on the immigration raids in Nebraska and in California. The supermarket guru, Phil Lempert, and Lisa Ann Walter. She is hilarious. Go see her this weekend. All right, I am on vacation starting tomorrow. Shelly Winter's filling in for me. Please be nice to him. I'm going to Japan. If you want to follow along on my adventures, misadventures, make sure you follow me on Instagram because I'm going to be posting in my stories obnoxiously often. It's at Mark Arum, MarkArum. Stay safe. Have a great Thursday. Have a great weekend. Have a great next week. I'll catch you on the flip side, Atlanta.
To a simpler place.